Hey guys, the VOD review you're about to watch is myself with a Diamond top lane player. Now, the player has been struggling to find confidence in playing ranked, and so what this VOD review is, it's not so much a actual review of his gameplay in a main focus sense. It's actually breaking down his mentality, his attitude, his feelings, and kind of almost his anxiety about queuing up for ranked. He plays a lot of flex queue games and he has a couple of Smurf accounts, but he's quite nervous to actually play on his Diamond main account because he's scared of losing rank. He's not sure if he's good enough. And so this VOD review is really breaking down that thought process, building up his confidence in himself, but also letting him know that he actually is playing at a Diamond level. He just can't see it through his own eyes. So really giving him that second opinion, in giving him the confidence that, okay, you are actually good enough. You are a Diamond player. You just need to get comfortable with the fact that you're playing in Diamond games and really get used to that, and then build confidence day by day, game by game, until he builds up enough confidence to understand that, yes, I'm a Diamond player, yes, I want to play in Diamond solo queue, and yes, I'm going to climb higher than I've ever climbed before. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the VOD review. It's a long one, but it's really good, in-depth analysis, data, information, and it really focuses on the mentality of a solo queue player, which I think you're all going to really benefit from. And so was there anything in particular we wanted to look at this game, or just a holistic kind of approach?
Yeah, some of the things I really wanted to learn was basically how to approach a VOD review, like really getting the set of skills myself so that I can do it in my own,
Yep.
and learning the key questions to ask. Also, I felt like this game is something that happens a lot, because I like to play normals with a lot of friends of mine, and usually when they're low elo, right, I get paired up. There's like a natural elo disparity, so usually I get a lead, but they fall behind,
Yep.
and I struggle with being able to, I guess, 1v9, if that term means anything,
Yep.
to like really understand in my head. Like I struggle between knowing when to split, knowing when to group, and also like I feel like in this game in particular, I kind of lose focus and discipline and started focusing the wrong targets in a team fight, and I'm not sure how to approach a team fight appropriately. Like really losing sense of, having a strategy basically.
Okay. Yep. So who are you five-manning this? So everyone you're on comms with?
Nope. This is just me solo queue in ranked flex. I'm the Jax, and I know no one on this team. It's just me
Oh,
by myself.
okay. Got it. Got it. Okay. Sorry, I thought you were playing with friends in this game. Alright. Awesome. Okay, so the way I kind of approach VOD reviews is usually try and break them up in, I guess, to laning phase, mid game, and late game, and somewhere that can be a good place to start on, like, say, where you need to focus on in a VOD review is, I'll just go to your mobalytics. Give me a second. And generally, have you
Yes.
ever used mobalytics before?
Yeah. I'm actually subscribed to them. I check it pretty frequently just to see like what areas I can improve on. I know like vision score has been one of my weakest points by far, but I'm usually pretty good at scrapping just because I play like a lot of one of those like 1v1 top laners that TF Blade plays, like
Yeah.
Tryndamere, Jax, Irelia, stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay, so you have a very strong laning phase. Okay. Oh, that's okay. I'm just looking at your AD carry. So do you main top or?
Yep. I consider myself a traditional top lane main, but I've also really enjoyed ADC just because it's mechanically challenging. And I feel like the champions I usually play top lane really aren't that difficult. Like it's really hard to screw up Tryndamere, if I'm
Yeah,
being honest. Same thing with like Jax.
people still
So I
manage to
like to
do it.
like
Yeah.
yeah, and I like to play AD just because it really feels validating when you can stall until late game and then really 1v9 just because you have that much damage to do it. Um, but yeah, I consider myself a top lane first and
Okay.
foremost.
And is there any reason why you've only played 34 ranked games this season? Do you not like to play too much on this account in terms of solo queue, or you
No, I
don't have
actually have ranked
time?
anxiety, so
Okay, okay,
uh,
okay, cool. No,
yeah,
I thought there might be something like that. Okay, that's fair enough. That usually happens. So you just like to stay kind of diamond, right? There's nothing wrong
yeah,
with
like
that.
my
Yeah.
my goal is usually hit diamond, and then I mean I've tried in the past seasons to hit diamond and go above, but I usually get like I guess my ego gets checked really quickly when I realize I'm not that great at the game quite yet.
Yeah.
So I just want to take a more like focus on improvement kind of mentality instead of like elo focus. So
Okay, that's great. No, I really like that. I wish more people thought like that. So, do you want to talk me through what you think the Aatrox Jax matchup?
yeah, I always struggle with Aatrox in laning phase because the good ones really know how to space me out really well in terms of like because I only have one gap closer, right? Whereas
Yeah.
he has a short cooldown Q. I need to dodge his. So like key points in my mind is I need to dodge his Qs, sweet spots, I guess is what you call them, while being able to trade against him effectively. I know if it's off of cooldown, the window for me to jump in with my E to trade is better. I think I beat him in an extended trade as well, just because of how Jax work passive.
Yeah.
Um, but aside from that, like I usually approach this matchup as I'm gonna test him a little bit early game, like see if I could take some trades, see how he react. If he's very comfortable taking trades with me, I'll back off and be a little more respectful until 6. And then I know once I get my first couple items, I can completely trounce him just because of how the matchup is.
Fair enough. Yeah, I like that. So usually when I start a game, I know it's habits just going to top lane, but if your whole team is not AFK, which in this situation they're pretty much not, and someone pings, like you may as well just go because there's nothing. Oh, never mind. That's
Oh yeah,
the. Sorry. Um, you may as well just go with them because there's nothing really to lose out. You're not going to get any like lane priority or anything like that. Sitting in top lane. Because as you see in this game, their whole team comes to fight your team, and you're just not there at all.
yeah.
So I think like just keeping an eye, even in like before minions spawn, can be a really important phase of the game, and it's easy to kind of tunnel or just like go through your motions and just come to top lane. But I think always if your team's not AFK and they're all moving around, you either protect your top lane or help them, whether it's defending an invade or approaching an invade with them. I think that's usually a good practice to get yourself into.
Okay.
Because I mean, you can win a game like off this. I mean,
Yeah,
who knows?
yeah. I think
Aatrox gets first blood here, which puts you at an immediate deficit. I don't know if you being there would have actually been able to protect Ezreal there from dying, but I think it's just good practice.
gotcha.
Because I mean,
Yeah, I
something
really
here
regret
could
the
have been
early game.
turned. Oh, this is awkward. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just a good one.
Yeah, I definitely should have been down there.
Yeah. This is. Okay, at least Aatrox doesn't get a second kill. Or does he?
Second time as well.
Okay. So, one thing here is, I assume he's going to TP back to lane. Yeah. So at least
Yep.
you know his flash is down. So that means I assume you know his flash is down because you're watching those fights occur.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So I think an important thing's like wave management as well. So you're already auto attacking. Is there a reason for that? Are you wanting to
Yeah.
push in?
Yep. So I want to do the 3-wave bounce on him. So try to slow push the first wave, build up my passive. So if he tries to fight me, I can still trade with him.
Yep.
And then I want to hard shove in the second wave, so the third wave will bounce back, and then
Yep.
I can meet him at level 3 in the middle of the lane, around there or so.
Okay. Cool. Just because with that, it can be sometimes awkward if the jungler. Oh, why is no jungle camp showing on the minimap? That can be awkward if it doesn't go to plan, particularly with the junglers ganking between 245 to 3. But at least you've got knowledge that Zac is still bot side. So I think that's something important as well as a top laner, knowing where the jungler started, which we know now because he tried to steal, or I think he might have actually stole Zac's blue. So then you kind of have an awareness now of where Zach is. He's probably bot side jungle. In the next minute or so, he'll be top side. So you can also manage your wave off that information because, I mean, Nico's not going to roam on you. So the only reason you need to manage a wave properly is either because you're scared or confident over the Aatrox, or because Zach's top side and he's looking to gank you
Gotcha.
as well. So we don't always have to do like a bounce back wave management style just because we want to or because we feel like it. It can also be because of the jungle position. Like if we get knowledge he starts in blue buff and then goes down, we could do some other kind of wave management.
Gotcha.
This is good. Um, okay, so he hits level 2 first. Do you feel like you can... yeah, I guess he's got Doran's shield, Doran's blade.
Yeah.
So here I think it's a good trade, but I think you should counter-strike earlier. So that's just a little micro. Or not even counter-strike. Because, as you can see...
You just EOA really safely. Huh?
yeah. So we either gotta...
Basically, wait for his auto animation and then
yeah.
use the counter.
So just a little... So that one's good.
Mhm.
This is the one. So the aggression's really good. So the jump over is good. But then I think you must have expected him to fight back, and that's why he counter-striked late. But,
Yeah.
you know, as you watch TF Blade and stuff, they, like, really optimize their counter-strike well, because it's, like, Jax's... That's a good trade. Because it's, like, Jax's strongest kind of dueling mechanism, besides his Q, I guess, to jump in. But that trade is pretty much just a Doran Shield, Doran's Blade versus a Corrupting. It's a pretty rough one.
One of the things I wanted to try to do in this specific matchup, and I know I screw this up later on, is basically like dancing around his character to make it harder for him to land that third Q on me.
Yep.
But it's hard for me to read him. At least I feel like one of the things I struggle with is learning a player's particular habits.
Okay.
So like whenever I face like a Fiora as Jax, they always end up like outskilling me with their W because I don't know, I feel like I screw up my E too much and they read me a lot better than I can read them.
Yeah. Well, and I think, again, like, Jax is kind of a lot more easier to read than, say, a Fiora, because his abilities are quite flagged in that his W gets empowered. Like, obviously you can see when his W's up, or not up, but active, and then you can tell with Counter-Strike, you know, roughly when he's going to proc it, whereas, like, a Fiora, her stun, her jump, like, her little dash, all that stuff's quite hard to predict. So I think you're right in that, you know, it's just harder naturally to predict a Fiora over a Jax. But I know what you mean. Certain players have certain play styles, and identifying that is pretty important. But I mean, this lane's a hard one to analyze just because he has like a natural lead over you, all because of that level 1. So it's not really a traditional lane setup. So like in something like this, and this is the isolated in case because of his lead that he got a one kill lead off your teammates, is that I would actually be happy just going even in a lane like this, which you're doing right now, and just not forcing anything. If Graves comes to gank, that's great, but laning phase is pretty hard for you.
Gotcha.
That's my opinion, though. I know, like, that's a kind of defeatist opinion, but I think it's kind of the best way to play, particularly in Diamond and stuff. It's not always having to, you know, outplay. It can just be, like, not making mistakes or, you know, staying humble and just letting them have that little lead and then hoping you can outclass them, say, in the mid game or the late game, or maybe get a better TP rotation in a fight that allows you to actually get a lead over for your team and then, you know, outscale him in different ways.
Gotcha.
good trade. Couple of auto attacks missed there. So good dodge. I mean, there's no real good trades for you when you're this health, but this is like probably your best trade window. The
Mhm.
walkout's a bit random, because we know he's used his W. He's used a lot of his, I think all three of his Qs.
Yeah, I think I was trying to dodge his third Q. My brain was a little slow in reacting that he already used his third Q. So I was like, oh, I shouldn't have walked out.
Yeah, and then you had an auto attack there. He gets the free auto attack, and then you miss the CS as well. And then I don't know what happens here. He might even get the kill on you. No. Okay.
And I think this is where I base for Doran's blade, just try to even out my early game a little bit.
Yeah. And so you've done really well, 14 to 12. The thing I think you've forgotten is, and again, this is why I say it's like an isolated incident, is when you're behind, I think the number one important thing is obviously a bit of trading to show that you're not just going to roll over and give him the lane, but also like making sure you can manage this wave so it's acceptable. Like he can't get a freeze. He can get a freeze off this wave right now. I know it wasn't an ideal back and you kind of got forced to back here, but we could have probably prevented this freeze by either playing a bit safer, not trading as much while still being aggressive. So like positioning, but not actually going in. Um, and just making sure that this wave now, because I don't know if he's a good player or not, but this is a pretty easy freeze for him. And he could just choke you out literally for the next 5-10 minutes of the game until Graves helps you push it out.
Yikes. Okay, gotcha.
If does that make sense to you?
Yes. I
Because
definitely have like
yeah,
I know this is rank flex, so like these players aren't as like I'm used to playing against like diamond top laners,
yeah,
and I've definitely experienced being choked out before, where like just a single minion wave that I screwed up, and the Garen or Renekton just freezes it on their side, and I
yeah.
literally can't do anything.
And so the good thing is this is a really good indicator of a player's skill. So do you watch LS at all?
Yeah, I
He
do. I
goes on
do.
a
I watch
lot about freezing, but
Yeah,
like
it hurts my head a lot
yeah,
whenever I watch him. Like he's like this minion that you auto just screwed your lane. I'm like,
yeah.
oh great.
But freezing does have its. I don't obviously put as much weighting on freezing as LS, but here you can actually read a player off. So if I was Aatrox, if you were Aatrox, I feel like you would freeze in this situation, right? There's no point in him. Like he just started pushing this wave or trying to push this wave, but he didn't have any reason of it. So I think that's a really good indicator that okay, the Aatrox got a first blood, but it wasn't necessarily through skill. All he did was group up with his like teammates who he's probably on comms with to get that first blood. So I think that is maybe one of the first indicators of okay, this guy he knows his champion, but he doesn't really understand wave management, or maybe he wants to get a back off. But now you get a really
Um,
good fight here.
one of the things that I struggle with, and I don't know why, but I physically can feel the change in my personality or mental when I go into solo queue rank. Because
Yeah,
in normals and in ranked flex, I'm a very cocky player in the sense of like I know these players just because I've never played ranked flex before. The elos are not going to be adjusted, so I probably won't be laning against who's diamond.
yeah,
So I play really aggressive up in their face, and I basically say like I dare you to trade with me to see if you can prove your stuff.
yeah,
But the moment I go into diamond, like I play super timid, where I'm like, okay, this guy probably knows how to trade a lot better than me, and then
yeah,
I end up like getting pushed around, and I'm not sure how to approach that. Like
yeah,
yeah, that's where like the rank anxiety comes from. Like if I screw up once and give first blood, I like my ego just falls apart.
yeah. Um, that's something that won't ever really be fixed overnight, and everyone obviously deals with that. I deal with that myself on my main. Um, and the thing I find is like building up my confidence. So let's say I want to play some ranked on my main today. I'll play on my alt account, or I'll try and play the champions I want or the role I want and give myself, some pre-built confidence in that game. And like obviously it's in, whatever, plat, gold, MMR. But at least it gets you a bit warm, it gets you like mentally ready, and it's on the champion or at least the role you want to play. And I think that's how I like to approach players who don't like to play too much on their mains because they're a bit scared of their rank. Obviously they know they're quite high up. They don't want to make mistakes.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of a matter of overthinking it, and the only way to face like, obviously it's a fear to an extent, but the only way to face a fear is just to, you have to face it head on eventually. Like you're never gonna get over something by just avoiding it. So I think that's
Got it.
something that's important. I think you've got like, yeah, I think it's hard with rank because like we value our elo so much, or like our MMR. But I think if you stepped away from that, kind of like you're saying you want to, um, ranked games become a lot easier because it's like you don't really care too much about your rank. It's more the outcome of the game. So did I play well? Did I win laning phase? You can't always influence the win or the loss. So it's like, did I learn something this game? Could be another way to approach a ranked game. Like, okay, I played early game really well, but they outscaled us or something. So at least I learned that I can play my early game confidently in Diamond games, but obviously their team comp just trumped ours or something like that, if that makes
Gotcha.
sense.
Yeah, yeah,
But
gotcha.
but it's a slow process to get over that. To get over that kind of anxiety of playing on our main accounts. And also, like overplaying in flex queue on our on our Smurf accounts can also build that anxiety up because we keep avoiding it, so it becomes more and more of a bigger deal. So maybe like I don't know how often you play on your main. Do you do like one game like a week, or do you do like 3 games in one day? Like,
So usually at the beginning of the season, basically I treat draft as and clash as like the training ground, I guess.
yeah,
And then at the beginning of the season, I go super, super hard, where
okay,
I spend like 2 to 3 days just grinding to hit diamond, and then I just stop playing entirely and
okay,
just sit back and like, play the decay games.
okay, okay. And is that how you want to play on your main account?
No,
Okay,
I definitely want to prove myself and like I always feel like every single season I get a little better because I can reach diamond at a quicker pace with a better win rate. But the
mm-hmm,
moment I start playing and like I hit diamond and I'm like, okay, I'm done. I feel like again, it's that feeling, that fear of like, okay, I'm gonna screw up my win rates. I'm gonna screw up in laning against this guy, and I can always just fall back and just play with friends. And I
yeah.
feel like that's the thing I'm trying to improve from and like get over that mentality. I guess the mental hurdle.
So who do you think is like why is diamond so important? Who do you think, are you trying to prove it to yourself? Are you trying to prove it to your friends, the community?
Yeah, in my head, I guess it's always been like a kind of like a status symbol. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely to myself, but also my friends too. I always feel kind of like needed. I'm a very competitive person, and I guess it's almost like an inferiority complex where like if
Yeah.
I'm not diamond and I play with friends that are diamond, I'm like I want to be as good as them. I want to prove that I'm not holding them back,
Yeah.
and that's where it comes from. Yeah.
Okay. Do you watch Gary Vee at all?
No, I don't.
I think you should start watching. He's an entre he's have you heard of him?
Gary V.
Yeah, Gary Vee. he,
No, no,
he's
I've
a
never heard of
he,
him.
he's a I guess entrepreneur is the best way to put it, even though I hate those words. But he's also like a motivational speaker. He's kind of like a Tony Robbins, except for like I don't know how old you are, but like a kind of our generation um person. And he's basically like, we got to stop caring about what other people are thinking of us because they don't know our story, they don't know who we are. They only see like one side, or just our diamond rank or whatever, for example. um
Gotcha.
so I think you should be playing for yourself. And obviously, like, if your friends, they know you've been diamond for what, the last 4 seasons. It's not like if you drop to plat or something like that, even if you do, um, they're gonna think anything less, really, because
Got-
you've proven for the last like you're a diamond player. If you get there, obviously, like, you have this strategy where you like hard grind, so your MMR is pretty much always diamond. So every season it becomes like easy to get back to diamond. but I think the mentality side, as you've said or identified, is the problem here. Not necessarily your skill levels or your champion pool. It's the mental hurdle of diamond and that kind of status is the problem.
Gotcha.
But it's
Gotcha.
hard to fix. There's no black or white answer, I guess.
Got it. Okay.
Do you have a Smurf account?
Yes, I do. I have two of them. One of which I'm practicing jungle only on,
Okay.
and the other one is just like my other Smurf that I just do like top and ADC on.
Cool. And what ranks are those?
So I haven't played on the Smurf one, the jungle only one for a really long time. The other one is I think Plat 1 right now. And I just like play on that occasionally whenever my friends are not on.
Okay. So it's Plat 1. That could be a really good, like, because I assume then the MMR would be quite similar to this one?
Yeah. I think usually at this point I'm queuing up against D3s, maybe sometimes even D2s.
Okay.
But with the Plat one, it's just because I play ADC a little more than I do top lane on my Smurf account,
Yeah.
and that one is usually like a little more, I guess, hard stuck, much closer to like 55% win rate, stuff like that.
Okay. Because that could be a solution as well. Like, if you play on that, so like, say instead of queuing up for a flex, like like, wouldn't it be better to queue up for a solo queue on your Smurf account, like for a game like this?
Gotcha.
Because
I see your point.
so one of the big ways I actually got over that anxiety of my main account being diamond and never wanting it to like drop and not wanting to play games on it was I actually got one of my Smurfs higher, and so then it immediately went A, okay, I'm actually a better player than I think I am, but also B, oh well, if I lose on my main account, my Smurf account's higher anyway, and so you can either use the Smurf account to limit test and like build up your confidence in the elo, then go onto your main, whichever rank you're more you care more about, and use that as kind of like a confidence tool of, okay, I'm a good enough, I'm playing against diamonds here. Okay, I'm feeling good. Let's go on to my main and then play the game. Instead of playing flex queue games, that could be a good solution to this kind of anxiety to an extent.
Gotcha.
Do you agree
Okay.
with that?
Yeah.
Because that really helped me as soon as I got my one of my Smurfs, and it's like a unique situation. So it's lucky that your account's so high in terms of like so close to your main. Yeah, it was one of the best things for me. Because like if
Gotcha.
you've gotten two accounts now to diamond, pretty much, it's like you're definitely deserved to be a diamond player. Which I think's one step of the way. And then this Aatrox should never have been in this fight. But does that feel like that's helped that problem?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Absolutely.
cool. All right, nice. Wow, that's a really good. Probably didn't need a
I
flash there,
shouldn't have flashed.
but okay, that's fine. Okay, so this is great. Like I feel like that little fight here. So one, the wave management, and two, why is he trying to fight? Like why is he even trying to duel you here? Besides, unless his mentality is if I damage Jax a little bit, then I get a recall, but he doesn't even get like a cheetah
Yeah, he had no
recall.
TP.
He doesn't have TP, so there's literally no reason why he's fighting there. So like I don't know if that indicated to you or if that pinged in your head that this Aatrox is not playing well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but
I definitely think I'm a better player than this guy right now, at least in my head. That's where my mentality is, and that I can use him just because of the way that he's been positioning and
yeah,
trading with me in lane. Because
perfect.
I've been on the receiving end before, where like I play against a really good Aatrox, and they just shove me into the dirt, and I'm like, all right, I can't do anything against this guy.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay, perfect. Because the wave management and then that fight there, like literally says everything you need to know about this player. I think.
and right now I think I'm just trying to shove as hard as I can because I know he has no TP
Yeah. And
to reset the wave.
and I don't know how good you are with incomes, but I mean you're only now 100 gold behind, so I don't know if you fear if you have a pretty good mental, or like, I guess
I
understanding of
actually
like roughly if you're
yeah
ahead or behind.
I have no idea. Like in my head, when I press tab, I actually don't even look at like people's items in terms of what their gold cost is. I just look at it as like, okay, I have Triforce versus partial completed items, or like I have
Yeah.
Blade of the Ruined King versus his like Death Stance. I like, and at that point, I don't know like the goal value, but I can associate some level of like power to that, if
Yeah,
that makes sense.
and I think that's good enough because the alternative is trying to memorize gold prices, and I mean unless you want to do that, that's just like rote learning. That's just like going over them again and again until you understand how much each thing costs. But I think we all
Gotcha.
develop, particularly when you've played this many seasons, you develop a natural value on like a Phage, on a Sheen, on, you know, Tabby, on like you develop a natural thing that's pretty close to the truth, and it allows you to process the information a lot faster. So it's not just about correct information with League, it's like how quickly can I process this information to get like a good enough contextual understanding of this matchup or of the game scenario. Because if we're trying to like work out in our head calculating items, it's can, you know, lead to like delay, lack of decisions, clarity, all that kind of stuff. Unless you're like a super maths whiz and you want to learn every item price, I think how you're doing it right now is fine.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you.
No worries. Cool. So I assume you're gonna reset off this wave. Nice.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So really
And I
good.
want to.
Yep.
I was gonna say I think my goal this game is to get Blade the Ruin King and try to duel him as soon as possible instead of a TMAT where I just kind of like try to shove him in and then get like those cheap recalls off or farm my own Krugs.
Yeah. In Jack's Aatrox lanes, have you done this matchup quite a bit?
I've done it a handful of times. I'm not the type of person who really knows like I can this guy at exactly this interval. Like at level 4, I power spike against him. At this item, I power spike against him.
Yeah.
I'm not like one of those like one trick ponies.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like the player where like, oh, I hit you and you hit me back. I can see my HP bar moved a little less than yours, so and I know my passive how my passive works.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling that I can beat you at that point.
Okay. So would you say you alternate your initial build path based on the Aatrox's skill or just the champion itself? So obviously you have a problem with identifying the player's skill, but let's say you get first blooded by your Aatrox and he's doing really good wave management. Would that alter your build path of trying to rush a Blade of the Ruin King, for example?
Yeah, at that point, I think if I'm getting completely demolished or getting frozen, I will probably go tab eyes and play a little more of a passive game where I don't try to take risky trades against him,
Yeah.
but try to like stay in the game as long as possible because I know for a fact that I outscale this guy.
Perfect.
So like that's my approach towards it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we can even take that one step further is like Tabai's good. And then if there's still a problem, you can even like get an early executioners. I know Jax, it doesn't synergize that well. But if there is like a trading problem and it's mainly because Aatrox is getting his Conqueror off or he's using his ult really well, an executioner for its gold value can actually really be really effective during laning phase.
Gotcha. Yeah, one of the things I was actually struggling with this game, and I wanted to ask you later on,
Yep.
because in late game you're gonna notice that I get a Last Whisper.
Yep.
Mortal Reminder is
Yeah.
the HP one, I think. Yeah, I get that, but then I actually sell that and try to go for a Wit's End, thinking that that might be better against Zac, Nico, and even against Aatrox, just because of the passive it has with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure in my head, and I'm not sure how to objectively determine that.
Yeah. And I think that's like a quick stat check of like who has armor items, who doesn't. But armor pen late game, like if it's your fifth, sixth item, is almost always one of the most gold efficient items in the game because everyone has some base level of growing a armor stats. So Last Whisperer armor pen becomes like quite an efficient option. Particularly like you're always going to be able to kill like a Lucian Nico pretty quickly. Obviously Wit's End helps you tank a bit longer. But against like a Zac who's going to be stacking armor, Aatrox who's at least getting that, Thresh who's also building armor, I think the Last Whisperer armor pen is almost always a good option.
Got it.
But
Got it.
Jax is
Okay.
also very split hybrid damage, so it is situational, I think, to a big extent. because he can go like sometimes he won't even need that 5-6 item, or you might go a dead man's, or you might go something else
Hmm.
to be a bit tankier rather than to deal more damage. Because Jax's kit late game is already pretty big damage.
Gotcha.
So do you have any intentions with this wave, or are you just going through the motions here? Because I think this is something really important
Yeah,
in VOD
I'm
reviews to
trying.
always ask yourself, what am I doing with this wave and why?
Gotcha. Let me write that.
So every time a new wave is here, what am I doing with this wave? Why am I doing it? Do I know where the
Um,
enemy jungler is? Do I know I now beat this guy? Am I freezing just because I have a lead over him, or can I push it and then like look to roam mid, etc.,
Gotcha.
etc.?
In my head right now, I know that the wave is pushing into me, and if I let it build up too big, one, I can't freeze it effectively because it's going to be too many minions, and two, I can't trade against the Aatrox. But what I want to do is I want to like where my character's standing right now, a little back is where I want to freeze it, so Aatrox has the longest distance to like travel to escape.
Yeah.
And I want to freeze it there and try to thin the minion wave around there while maintaining my passive stacks.
Okay. Yep. Cool. I like that.
And this is where I just like try to test the opponent. Like I know I could beat this guy. I pressed R for God knows
Yeah.
what reason.
Yeah. I was gonna say there's no reason to press the R, but
Yeah,
all good. And there,
and
if
I
you
know
had
he's
flash
fast.
as well, you probably like could have
Yeah.
even gone for that kill, but that's okay.
Whoops.
So again, here, what are we doing with this wave? Do we want to push this? Are we just happy with it here? Do we have any items to buy? Not really.
Yeah, I think right now I know he's super chunked and that he has to base, but I just want to like dance around this wave right now to make sure that the guy does base. I know
Yeah.
sometimes they like to hide out of vision and then come back later on, but once I feel like I don't really confirm this, which is pretty bad, but once
Yeah.
I feel like based, I'm just gonna keep shoving this as hard as I can to reset.
So my always natural reaction is to check the back. So all you have to do is go here, and with Jax, you can just jump back to kill the CS. So I'd always come back
Gotcha.
here, make sure he's not there, and see if you can see the recall.
Okay. Okay.
Um, so then you're not playing a guessing game of should I push this, should I not?
Gotcha. And this is where I try to hard shove this to reset myself.
Yep. So you're warding here. Ah, no, never mind. Yep, this is all good, and then you're back here. Perfect. So now, this is a stage where I would even start potentially looking for my next TP. Obviously, it's on half CD. Like, my next TP could be like a bot lane TP into lane or behind or for a dragon or something like that. Because I think you know now, like, you've got a 20 CS lead. Obviously, the gold difference, you're only up 200 gold. But now you know, okay, I'm a better Aatrox. Can I now push my influence into another lane? Which LS doesn't like. He thinks very like lane focused, like all I need to do is beat my lane. And then my
Yeah,
teammates
that's
shouldn't int or my teammates shouldn't feed, but they do. So I always like to obviously I always like to like make my bed first, like get my own shit in order, and then if I can use my lead to help a teammate that might have seen that's doing really well, like maybe my bot lane is in this situation not doing very well, but maybe my Rumble's doing really well and he just needs that slight little push to give him like the potential he needs, or the little gold boost he needs to reach his true potential, if that makes sense.
yeah, yeah.
And obviously that's
Uh,
different. Like in Diamond, you can usually trust players a lot more as well. Like if I do this TP bot lane, we're going to get a lot out of this because my jungler is then going to secure Dragon because we've got bot side pressure, la 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 la. And it's like a series of events that cascade because you did that one play, which you might not necessarily get away with because you're probably not versing an Aatrox this bad in Diamond. But again, that's very situational plays.
So right now it's the same thing where I know like I need to thin the wave out,
Yeah.
and then I want to try to shove him or jump on him again and hard trade again.
Yep.
Except I think I screwed this one up.
Yeah, I
Because
think
I
you could.
tried dancing around in third Q.
Yeah, I think you could have been a little bit more aggressive there earlier, but I mean, this is fine. Um, and now Zach's coming. Oh no, Zach's not coming top. This is a perfect trade window now.
Yep.
I mean, you could have. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of creeps there, so that's you're playing pretty humble, which I like as well.
This is where I do.
Oh no. Now you use your
Yeah.
ult too late as well, or was it just up on
Yeah.
cooldown?
Oh, this is embarrassing.
A little bit.
Oh,
Yeah.
I could have. I knew I could have killed him there too. Like, oh man,
Yeah, I
needed
think.
to like stay closer, use my R faster. Shoot.
I mean, like, even here, like, there's a lot of good trade. Like, if you want to all in, there's a lot better windows of all inning than I guess when you do. Like, before this wave crashes is a really good one. And also, if he attacks you first, see, you attack him first, so that means all his minions attack you. But if he attacks you first, just your minions attack him, and his minions don't actually aggro you.
Gotcha.
But because of this, look, you're taking probably like 100, maybe even just from that one little trade, damage just from his minions. And ideally, I would just, like, in Diamond, you wouldn't get away with what you're doing right now, and you don't even in this. But I'd just stay humble, thin out this wave, then look for the kill, because we know we're a better player than the Aatrox. It's now just like it's just a time period of when we want to kill them, I guess. So I think this is just over-forcing, like, aggression. I mean,
Yeah.
you missed the E and the R wasn't optimal as well, but this fight probably should have never happened in the first place anyway.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Which you were pretty much agreed on there.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
And also Graves
then,
was like pathing top as well, so like that could have even been an opportunity. I don't think you guys win the 2v2 because Zach's 6, Graves is 5, but I mean that could have been an opportunity that might have eventuated as well with Rumble coming as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think I also die right after this too.
Oh, good.
Because this becomes like a really extended fight, and I screw up pretty hard.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a fiesta. This is classic flex.
Yeah.
This is classic solo queue as well, actually.
Classic NA.
Yeah.
So here I think I could kill these guys, and I think I misplay this pretty hard. Because I'm looking at the thresh the entire time,
Yeah.
and I also have my Q coming up, but I think my mechanic's too slow to react to the back line.
Yeah. Let's go back a little bit. The flash as well is a bit interesting, I guess is the best way to say it, because now you've pretty much got no escape because you just used your Q and then you flashed like literally, obviously to get like an auto attack reset, but the flash wasn't very optimal. If you're trying to kill all these people, I wouldn't use my flash to kill the Thresh, if that makes sense.
Got it. Okay. Okay.
Like, because if that was like, because obviously you're thinking that in your head right now. I don't know if you're thinking that at the time, but it looks like you're thinking they're all low. I can do this.
Yeah. Yeah. That was exactly what I was.
Yeah.
Going through my
So
head.
we don't want to use we want our flash to be high value. We don't want it to be like just getting an auto attack reset to confirm a kill on a Thresh. Although he's like one piece in the killing everyone puzzle. I don't think it's the strongest one, particularly when he's used a lot of his abilities.
Gotcha.
But yeah, again, just never be in that situation. These last two fights, maybe it was the aggression or the cockiness got to your head. Maybe it's because you know it's flex Q, so you can limit test a lot. But I assume you'd never probably do those two fights in a solo queue game.
Yeah,
So
definitely not in solo queue, but it's definitely that cocky attitude that's coming into
yeah,
my head.
yeah. So I'm just gonna leave those fights as happy little accidents. Because I'm assuming, yeah, those probably wouldn't happen. But a good thing is, with a VOD review, when you see these fights and you recall in your head, I wanted to 1v4 this, try and also bring back what emotions you were feeling or what caused you to feel like you want to 1v4 this. Was it because, oh, I've got a lane lead on Aatrox, so I want, like that somehow translating into I've got a lane lead over everyone and I'm stronger than everyone? Like, try and identify why you wanted to do this. Was it because you just died and now you're feeling like burnt and you're like, shit, I need to get back, I need to get a kill, like, and pay them back? Like, try and can you recall like what emotion made you want to 4v1?
Gotcha. Yeah, it was definitely. I don't think it was anger, but more so of directed like confidence, where I'm like, okay, I know they're low. I know that I can, like, if I play this correctly, I can kill these guys. But then I just tunnel so hard on that thresh that I kind of squander the opportunity.
Yeah, and that's where I think a lot of people get wrong with VOD reviews. They're always like, yeah, I can identify what I'm doing wrong, but we're trying to identify the behavior or the emotion that made us do that decision. Because it's not necessarily the decision that's the problem, it's what's going through your head 5 seconds before that decision to make you think that was an acceptable choice to make.
Gotcha. Okay.
And now you just like you lose so much. I mean, again, like I think that's like a 1k gold play pretty much for Aatrox. Um, so again, now you have to rebuild the lead. Obviously, you probably still fight pretty even. I mean, you got Cutlass versus Warhammer Kindle Gem, and he's got Tabby. You don't have anything. You've just got your daggers.
Yep.
So now you have to like rebuild that little like lane advantage that you got through hard work. You just lost it all in 2 deaths. Um, and now as you can see, Aatrox is here helping his
Yeah.
team, which again is probably
His
because he's on comms with. He's obviously on comms with the Thresh because they've got the same clan tag. So like this is just flex again. So it's like hard to associate this with an actual play style or anything like that because he's on comms. So of course he's probably going to group with his Thresh.
Gotcha.
But as long as you're pushing here, your TP's up. But I don't think there's anything on here. You go for platings, I assume. Yep.
Yep.
Cool. Now this is potentially a fight that you could do. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know if you like to call your junglers over or you don't like to do that, but in Diamond, if you ping like an on my way for a jungler, they'll generally like respond to it. Particularly when they're like topside, and Krugs obviously is a jungle like camp they want to take, but they'll either like do the Krugs and then look, or they'll just like come straight away. So I think like utilizing your pings, but also understanding it's solo queue and my jungler might be tilted or he might not come for me. But I think like not relying on them, but if they will help you, use that as an opportunity to bring back this lead. Because
Gotcha. Yeah. One of
because
the things that
yep.
I suck at is communicating. Like usually whenever I play with my jungler, I don't tell them to do anything. I fear that one, they're gonna feel like I'm begging for help all the time, and two, it's gonna put them on tilt.
Mm.
So instead, I just like focus on trying to make, like, basically try to do as much as I can with the least amount of resources that my teammates give me. Like, be as self-sufficient as possible is my goal.
Yeah, and I like that, and I think that's a good base level approach, particularly in solo queue, because the problem a lot of people have is they over rely on their teammates not inting and like blame their loss on a teammate when it's like in reality you can't actually influence how your team's going to play. All you can do is influence how you want to play. So I think that's a really good mentality that you've got set in stone. But I also think, like, let's say here, this jungler isn't going to be annoyed if you ping, like, on my way or assistance, like, once or twice here. He's just going to go, okay, he wants a gank. Oh, it's 11 minutes into the game. I haven't even ganked top, or I haven't even looked top yet. Okay, maybe I'll look for the gank here.
Gotcha.
So I think,
Gotcha.
like, yeah, communicating, but to an extent that it's not like TF Blade style, where he spams all his pings and then starts telling him, the jungler, he's useless or
Yeah.
something like that. Like every game when he plays like Jax Sorelli, he's like, just gank me, just camp me, and then yeah.
Yeah.
So I think finding the healthy balance, kind of like everything in life, that healthy balance.
Gotcha.
Do you have ult here again? I think that I don't know if you're mismanaging your ult just in flex queue or if this is a something that happens.
No, no, this is a bad habit of mine. I actually don't use my R until like I'm so used to playing Tryndamere that I feel like unless I know it's an all in, that's when I use my R.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I mean, yeah, if you're wanting a fight here, I mean, it's not that much damage you would have got reduced, but really good creep blocking that, like blocking there.
Yeah, one of my favorite things to do is to attack move along with my opponent.
Yeah.
But yeah, using the R is definitely something that I really need to get used to.
Yeah. I think here as well, you could have dodged his pullback just by queuing earlier, and you would
Gotcha.
have just jumped out of it. I mean, again, in this fight, it doesn't make a difference, but in a fight where you're versing a Diamond Aatrox, it's going to make a difference.
Got it.
So I think game reviews as well, like even fights like this where you're going to win it pretty much no matter what. First looking at going, okay, this guy is 4-1-4, but he hasn't backed. So I think he's got, what, he's got 7, so he's got like a kill's worth of gold. So now you can actually go, okay, so I've got a Cutlass, 2 daggers, and a Doran's. He's got a Warhammer Kindle Gem, so 3, 2 defensive items and 1 kind of offensive. Now you can visualize in your head that this is actually like an okay fight for Jax. It's probably not the best because a good Aatrox probably wouldn't let you get away with this. But if it's a bad Aatrox, this is like almost like a reference point that you can use. Okay, if I'm in a situation similar to this, I kind of know my powers of the items versus his
Gotcha.
items. So I think that's something good to do with VOD reviews. Like every time you take a fight, look at the items and as well as like the micro and how you play the actual fight because your items obviously determine a lot of it, not just your micro and like dodging abilities and stuff. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yep.
Cool. But yeah, I mean, this Aatrox is just, yeah, really good. Perfect. Very nice. That was probably like one of your cleanest little skirmishes you've done this game,
Awesome. Thank you.
besides the R and the Q. Cool, so you got 1.7k now in the bank. Just waiting to
Yeah, I
buy.
think Yep, I'm shoving this in. I think Blade of the Ruined King is buyable now.
Perfect. Do you go for a plate here? You should. You should.
No, I don't think so. Oh, I should.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've got TP, Aatrox doesn't, so I think it's a pretty safe one.
Gotcha.
I mean, Zac can't really kill you. Like as long as you're not taking turret aggro, you could just walk away from a Zac or literally just skirmish him back here. Like just walk, attack walk, and then if you do get punished for that, all you have to do, like it punished as in, it delays your recall by 10 seconds because Zac's not going to be able to kill you. You just TP back in the lane.
Gotcha. Gotcha. I think in my head at this point, I know I have a safe window with no items that can like the 160 goal won't make a difference in my items. So
Yeah.
I want to walk back to lane and save my TP because I hear a lot that your first tee should always be back lane, but your second one should be helping your other teammates out.
Yeah, I think that's a good one.
Um, yeah, that's my mentality. But I think even then I break discipline. I'm pretty sure I only tee back to lane except once in this game.
And also turret plating, I don't know if you know how it works, but all you would have had to do is auto attack this once, so an extra 1 second, and you would have got the turret plating gold from here.
Ah, okay, okay,
So all you have to do is either be in range, like in local range here, or all you have to do is attack it, and as long as your minions get it before the turret stops aggro, you'll get the turret plating gold. As long as you're within like a respectable vicinity. So here's fine. You'll get the gold here.
gotcha,
So literally one
gotcha.
extra second would have got you this extra 160.
Shoot, okay,
Yeah. Because like in a diamond game, that doesn't matter in a flex game like this, but in a diamond game, that could be all the difference you need to hit your next power spike, etc.,
understood.
etc.
Okay, I always thought it was supposed to be local vicinity, but gotcha.
Yeah.
One
It's
last hit
yeah, it's
for
to an
local.
extent, yeah. So you can get the gold from there.
Got it. Okay, that's actually huge.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if you watch players a lot, but you'll see a lot of the good players doing that. As part of their like back strategy, they'll like attack it and they can mentally calculate, can my minions kill this plating? And that's what they'll use to decide when they back kind of as well. Particularly pre-14 platings can I think you're allowed to influence your back decisions based on platings as well. Um, to an extent, obviously, as long as you're not overextending. But in that situation, I think it's fine going for that plating.
Okay, okay.
But again, give. Oh, nice. Okay. Where are you TPing?
I think mid lane to try to save this rumble.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so there's no real better place to TP. That's probably the best. I mean, that creep. So like, yeah, like TPing, if we're gonna use our TP, I guess let's use it quickly, but I feel like you'll probably just look straight to mid lane here, and we're just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna TP and get here, but like,
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
TP'd here, that's a whole queue pretty much. That's your jump, in terms of
Gotcha.
distance. So you don't even have to use your jump in this situation. Oh, well, I guess you get debated there. But it was probably better that you didn't actually go into this. Actually, your Graves was there, so it might have been a 3v3 with bot lane prior. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah. Once I saved him, I in my head, I just wanted to back off
yeah,
because
okay,
I
you just
didn't
wanted to
have
save him.
vision of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. And then immediately walk back to top. Good.
Yep.
Little thumbs up. That's nice.
I don't. I always like mute all. So I don't like talk to my teammates at all, other than like telling them, "Hey, time to group." I promise you, I don't flame. Like,
Yeah, that's good.
I
No,
never
that's good.
type things like, "Yeah."
And assume you know now you beat this Aatrox. Because
Yeah,
we saw the
yeah.
last
I've
fight.
known.
Cool. So I'd push this because we don't have knowledge of Aatrox, and we now know Zach's still mid, so I'd just push this and try and get a plating. Because Aatrox is either one, waiting for you to push, which is fine, or two, roaming, again, because he's on comms. And again, you know, the Aatrox might not do this in a solo queue game, but I think we should just be
Um,
pushing this.
So one of the things that I was worried about is I hate that situation where I know I could beat the guy, but I need distance to chase him down because like this happens with Trinimir a lot too, where they literally just sit under their turret and they just receive minion waves for free, and I
Yeah,
can't really harass them because I'm not like I know I'm stronger than them, but not enough to tower dive.
yeah, okay.
And like I'm not sure how to approach it other than like I'm gonna freeze this and force this guy to walk up. Otherwise, I'm just gonna take it slow. That's like my mentality, but I'm not sure like is that right or is that wrong?
Well, I think one, we got to confirm that's the actual situation that's happening. So, are we okay with losing one CS to walk down here and check if Aatrox is in here or if Aatrox is in here? And then, okay, B, he's not anywhere here. Let's push this wave. So in this situation, I think trying to identify. So if you know for sure that they're going to be here, yeah, definitely like look to freeze it and force them out of their comfort zone into this area here. But
Got it.
if
Got it.
you don't have visual confirmation of where they are. Like, if you saw Aatrox walk here, you would just immediately push this or look for confirmation by watching, like, moving over to here and seeing if he's just waiting for the wave to crash.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because there's no black and white to that. It's situational. So if you can get as much information as you can to make that decision, that's the best way to approach it, I believe.
Gotcha.
Because you don't do that much. You don't like look to confirm a recall or to confirm an enemy position. You just like assume in your head almost like what would I do in this situation, which is fine. But if we're not very good at reading our players, or we know this Aatrox is now roamed probably 3 or 4 times. So it's like if we know a playstyle that this Aatrox is just perma roaming almost. Like he roamed at level 1, he roamed again, and now he's roaming the 4th time. You can kind of assume, okay, I doubt this Aatrox is just waiting here for the wave. He's probably trying to do something with his dead time.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's almost like he's not a top laner because generally top laners don't do this. You'd see
Mhm.
this kind of behavior from like a support or a mid laner.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess he's identified that he can't beat you in lane. So he's just gonna turret dive everyone, which kind of works for him because he's on comms with them. So again, I think this is a flex queue isolated situation. Like I don't think an Aatrox can get away with this shit in solo queue in Diamond. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually never even considered that, but that I definitely see the logic behind your point.
Yep.
Especially like also that reading the opponent and noticing what his habits are.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Like I need to take the time to actually like study that and also just to like spend a couple of seconds to confirm something before like going with a hunch.
Yeah. 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 Visual confirmation's a really good one instead of just mental assumption.
Visual.
And what are you gonna do here? Are you gonna go for tier 2 or? Okay.
Yeah, I think I shoved this in and I immediately try to check his jungle. The one thing that I want to do whenever this type of situation happens where I know I have a lead top, I
Yeah.
try to pressure the top side as well as the jungle as much as possible and even take my own jungler's Krugs if they're available and just keep doing that again and again and just getting that massive CS lead that I see like I know Fogged for the Win if you know who he is. He's like
I
a
think I've
NA
heard of him.
Tryndamere one trick.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. He's the trend. Yeah, 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 yeah.
yes, same thing with like Renekton top only. Like all of these guys who plays these like lane dominant snowbally champions do the same thing, right? Where they shove you in, they take your first tier turret, and then they immediately expand their territory to your jungle.
Mm-hmm.
That's the type of playstyle I have, or at least I try to adopt that. It might obviously mine isn't as theirs, but yeah.
So this is
I
also a
think this is
chance to
where
do Rift. Okay, perfect.
yeah
Yeah,
yeah yeah
that's what I was gonna say next. Like, what can we get on the map that's the most valuable thing if we don't want to back? It's like, sure, we could try and walk here, but like, you're probably not gonna get here by the time this fight ends. Like, that's gonna take you 25, 30 seconds, or like,
Mhm.
20 to 30 seconds, which you could do a Rift Herald in the same time. I mean, like, your team for getting caught out there when they had vision of this entire process going on is pretty bad.
Mhm. Again, it's a really bad habit of mine as well, but I know when I play flex that I'm playing with players that are worse than me, so I don't flame them, but at the same time, like, it's not that I don't respect them, it's just that I know that everything's on my hands to
Yeah,
carry,
which we
so
can
I try
see
not to,
what
yeah,
with what you're
eh,
doing right
but
now.
that's where like I lose myself. Like later on, you're gonna see like I quickly I think you could actually tell when my discipline breaks, and then I
Yeah.
start trying to because I don't know at that point. Like I just don't know how to win the game,
Well, we all
and that's
we
what frustrates me.
when we also saw the discipline already cracked very early on.
Yeah.
Which can be actually a really good mental cue for VOD reviews, but also in your actual games that, okay, if like I cracked here with my game plan, try and bring it back to going, okay, why did I crack my game plan here? Like, why did I break my game plan of lane dominance, like, top lane kingdom? Why did I break it here? Like, why didn't I just stay humble, come back to my win condition, which is to beat Aatrox in lane, instead of going for the 4v1?
Gotcha.
What was I gonna say? I can see like there's now becoming problems with solo queue and flex as well, because this is why I don't want you to play flex queue, because right now you're in a completely different mindset to how you would play solo queue. And every example we're going through here, I'm like, this wouldn't happen in solo queue. This wouldn't happen with diamond players. You wouldn't get away with this, or they wouldn't do this in diamond. So, one, playing a flex queue game, you can see how limiting in terms of how similar it is to your solo queue. So like
Yeah.
this isn't actually benefiting like your solo queue gameplay as much as you probably assume or just think, because you're playing completely different. Like you're trying to carry everyone on your back, where I'm sure in Diamond it's not as like that every game. You can
No,
rely on a
definitely
mid
different.
laner, you can rely on a really good jungler, because you're starting to get those players in your game, which obviously like don't over rely on that, but we can see now you've got a completely different attitude to how you play flex queue to how you play solo queue, so, which is something that's just hindering your ability to A, want to play solo queue, but B, when you do play solo queue, actually play it how it should be played, and it becomes a vicious cycle. Oh shit, I played a really bad solo queue game, and it's because you might have picked up some like minuscule bad habits from flex queue games that now have carried over, because you just played like 30 flex queue games over the last week, and then you go to a solo queue game and you're like, oh shit, why am I doing all these things? And so then it's a vicious cycle. Oh, back to flex queue to practice, but you're actually just picking up and reinforcing your flex queue bad habits and then transferring them to solo queue, which is then eliminate or like slowly eroding your confidence in your solo queue ability, when it's not your ability, it's just what you've now accustomed your playstyle to.
Oh my.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. In fact, it all makes logical sense, which is why it's like shocking me now that I think about it. Like what I've been doing is very irrational.
Yeah, and it's not actually productive. Um,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like a plat solo queue game is so much more productive than this on your Smurf account.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay.
Like, so unless you've got like, and even then I don't think this is a valid, unless you've got like a reason to be playing on your main, like I love my skins, or I really want to get Mastery 7, which I think are all really silly ideas, but if you do have those ideas, I'll like respect them as to why you want to play on your main. But yeah, I would always pick a plat solo queue game over a whatever flex queue game this is.
Gotcha, gotcha. I can definitely see why like this game is not ideal for solo queue now, for in terms of like actually knowing what to do.
Yeah.
I guess the thing that I'm trying to mainly learn from this is how, like, in a situation, let's just say, like, in rank, this happens where I just happen to be snowballing out of control,
Yeah.
whereas the rest of my team's losing, and I know this happens a lot when like Fog or like TF played Smurfs a lot. What are they doing differently versus what I'm doing? Like, they're macro decisions that they're making that I'm not, that prevents me from winning the game, whereas they can actually take it and run for home.
Yeah. I know just watching TF Blade a lot, he will do like the lane like split push approach almost religiously, but then he'll suddenly just pivot and he'll be like, fuck it, I'm just gonna TP into this team fight. And like he somehow pulls it off, and I don't know if it's like because he always seems so tilted, so I can't tell if he's actually thinking straight. But sometimes he'll just like split push for I don't know what time period, and this isn't really answering your question. I'm just trying to activate how TF Blade thinks. Um, like sometimes he'll just be split pushing for like 20, 30 minutes, and then all of a sudden he'll be like, yeah, fuck it, I'm strong enough, let's go for a team fight. And then he makes the game be decided off that team fight. So he's like, if we win this, it's probably, GG, we'll be able to win this game. But if we lose this, I'll either go back to split pushing or, I think the game's just over. And I don't
See,
know
like
how he
I
actually
actually don't know
decides it.
that. I actually don't know like either. no, no matter how much I watch him, but I think this happens this game where I
Yeah,
do a random TP to just test the waters,
yeah,
and at that point, like I'm pretty sure I fail the to change the team fight, and then I continue to group because at that point, like I just went on autopilot where I just like, okay, I need to keep grouping. Splitting is not working. I need to try to shut down that Lucian
yeah,
because right now I know he's ridiculously fed and he gets even more fed.
yeah. So bot lane here, is this just... Okay, this is just to kill the Aatrox, who's pretty much overextended.
Yeah.
Perfect. I don't think you need a flash there.
Okay. Okay.
Um, but it's fine. It's a shutdown, I guess. But again, like resource management, alt timing, flash timing. How many games? Like, I assume you've played hundreds of games on Jax, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what's the problem with waiting an extra? Like, if Aatrox comes over here, you just ward jump to like this. So like, even if he dashes over that, which I doubt he would have in that situation, he's probably gonna try and run here or run here. So either wait just for your Q timer, or you just Q onto this if he goes there. So like an extra 3 seconds versus a flash. Like
Yeah.
I'd waste an extra 3 seconds any day for a 5 minute cooldown on my flash.
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, this one was definitely like a very emotional play. I had no idea where the enemy team was, and I didn't pay attention to that at all either. So
Yeah.
I don't know when he was gonna get reinforcements, or even if he was gonna get reinforcements. So in my head, I was just like, go, 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 shut this guy down. Make sure you take that. But
That's
I see what you mean.
no, you've revealed something very interesting. So you didn't have context of the enemy. Hmm. Do you feel like you look at minimap enough?
No, that's why what I said. I'm trying to learn to use my F keys a lot.
Okay.
I look at minimap, but not religiously. Like like I feel like there's definitely pieces of information
Yeah.
that slip through my mind,
Do you know
and
what?
this is kind of
Yeah, sorry, keep
yeah.
going.
I was gonna say it's kind of embarrassing to say as a diamond player, but just like literally just like I try to look at the CS after every single or look at the minimap after every CS, but
Yeah.
it's still to the point where like so much stuff goes through my head that like I lose track of the enemy jungler. None of those are fundamentals that I've mastered yet,
Yeah.
and that's what like that's what gives me that feeling of like I'm just not a complete player, and I
Yeah.
want to build that, and that's what I want to do in FlexQ is just building those like small block. It's not like mechanical skills, but more so like just small fundamentals, like checking the mini map constantly, being able to like identify when it is good to rotate and when it isn't, and
Yeah.
that's the excuse that I use to whenever like I try to justify, hey, go play flex instead of ranked solo.
Yeah. Firstly, like to get to diamond with an not a bad macro understanding, but it just highlights how good you are on an on a micro champion level. That's like a really good sign. So like, although you can't like identify when you should do this, when you should do that, you've actually been able to get to diamond without having that knowledge. So I think once we do build that knowledge, it's going to be like a... Do you watch Naruto at all?
Yeah, I
It's going to
used
be like
up to Shippuden.
when is it Rock Lee takes those fucking weights off his like...
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
dude.
going to be
Oh my
you
god.
once once this... And it's not going to happen overnight, but it's just practice, I guess. But also, there's a thing called a metronome. Do you know what a metronome is?
Yeah, yeah, for piano where it keeps track of
Yeah,
the beat.
yeah. So I sometimes recommend players who have mini map problems to use a metronome that like ticks, I don't know, every 7 seconds or something. And you could try and use that to absorb or either go cycle your F keys. So maybe for F keys, it could be like a 15 or 20 second one and then you cycle. Or a mini map one, it could be, every 7 seconds. Or then
Yeah, one of the
you could also do it every... No, that's all right. Every 5 minutes or every 2.5 minutes, whether you use just the game timer for this or again another sound. And again, you'd probably want to use these in isolation one at a time until you feel like you're comfortable with your minimap knowledge, to you're comfortable with your FQ cycle, to your F key cycles. And then third to context, the 5 minute one or the 2 minute 50 one would be for understanding where everyone is and what their items are. So it's like a quick recap of the game situation. If you can do that every 2 minutes, 2 minutes 30 to like 5 minutes, whatever kind of works for you, you go, okay, Zach's 3-2, Nico's 2-1. Okay, shit, we've now identified Lucian's 10-1, but we would have seen this gradually improve. And then you might have gone, oh, okay, maybe instead of TPing mid, I should have actually TP'd bot when Lucian was 4-1 or when Lucian was 3-1 and tried to look for a TP here instead of maybe just saving my mid laner.
Gotcha. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. So I think like audio reminders, as long as you don't get like tilted or thrown off by them and they're not spammy, I think they're a really good way to ingrain like minimap or F key habits.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if do you feel comfortable cycling through champions?
Uh, one of the things I do notice back when Bjergsen a long time ago played with an eyeball track,
Yeah.
I know that he checks the mini map, and he also like all the pro players open up their dashboard ridiculously quickly. Like I can't even look at the CS before they close it again.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
notice they do this periodically. I have zero habit of doing that. I'll be completely honest.
Yeah.
My way of like watching team fights, like whenever I'm split pushing, I don't move my character because I'm usually using my left mouse button to hover over the minimap, and I know like Fog does the same thing, whereas like Faker and especially LS, they use F religiously, like constantly moving around.
Yeah.
I don't have that built yet, and honestly, it's a habit I've been trying to practice, but I'm doing really poorly because I just immediately default to autopiloting afterwards. After like if I fall behind or make a micro decision, like a mechanical mistake because of that, I feel so disheartened that I'm just like, all right, I gotta go back,
Okay.
go back to my normal habits.
Yeah. So there's one program, I'm trying to remember what it's called. Um who's this by? Oh, so Overwatch, Overwolf, sorry, game summary. Have you heard of that? Do
Yeah.
you use it?
No, I use a low key because it lags my computer when I
Okay.
use Overwolf. I don't know why.
Do you have it set up so that you can see how many times you press your F's keys?
No, I actually haven't.
So I think that might be a good one because F keys is like playing. I assume you play unlock camera.
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
In fact, it's one of the things I want to fix too, because I only play on unlocked, and I notice a lot of like high elo players, even Irelia players, play on locked camera, and that actually gives me like dizziness.
okay.
Like yeah, it just like moves around so much that I'm like, okay, I can't keep track of character.
Yeah. So I like I was guess I was using that situation of like when in this kind of situation where you're playing like locked and then you go to unlocked, it feels really shitty at first. And similar to when if you're going unlocked back to locked, it feels super shitty at first. Like you're like, holy fuck, this is like nauseous. I'm literally getting sick, or like this feels so
Yeah,
uncomfortable.
yeah.
But you slowly like you've just got to force it. Like you've just got to
Okay,
go 20 games like in flex queue, this is the best time to cycle because the win doesn't actually matter. So just try and get good at cycling
okay,
through the
okay.
champions.
Awesome.
And again,
Got it.
whether you need to use a like audio reminder for that, or you're like not smart enough, but every time you know you've got like 3 seconds downtime, you can remind yourself to, okay, let's cycle through the champions. Like don't like, and then slowly start to weave it into where you're like almost in combat or you're CSing and you're able to like cycle to mid lane, cycle to bot lane, then come back in between CS, if that makes
Awesome.
sense.
Awesome.
But it's baby steps. It's
Yeah.
not going to happen overnight, and it's not going to feel good. It's never going to feel good like in one game. It's going to feel good when you force it over 20 games.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
And then it's fucking Rock Lee style.
So one of the things I also don't know exactly when to do, because I feel like game dependent as well,
Yeah.
but basically when to keep pressuring the second inhib turret, or even or the second turret, or even the inhib turret sometimes, versus like taking an outer for the other lane. And I think for this game, just because I was already bot lane, I just decided to go like, hey, whatever, I'll just take the bot lane.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think there's a couple of cues. One is like next objective. So is it Baron, is it Dragon? Then the next question is, do I have TP? So if it's Baron, okay, bot lane's fine because I've got TP. But then it's also, do I trust, like, so again, I'm trying to get here, it's not black and white, it's grey. But there's a series of questions you could ask yourself within like 1 second. It's like, what's next objective? Do I have TP? What's like, do I trust my team to not int in a 4v5 while I split push? Do they know the win con of if I can just split push, I beat the Aatrox, so as long as they can just 4v4 and like concede a little ground because they are behind in this situation. Obviously, this is a bit ludicrous, this situation, but I think there's a lot of questions, but it's not all objective answers. Like asking, is my team good enough to 4v4 is like a very subjective answer. And like
Gotcha.
I wouldn't trust this team to 4v4. So I'd try and think, okay, is there any way we could group with this rift? And again, I know you're playing solo here. But is there any way to group with this rift as 5 and use it to, let's say, feint that we're wanting to all go mid and then actually get Baron off it or get a Dragon off it, because they're all trying to kill the rift, and so we can like sneak an easy objective. You probably won't get away with Baron for something like that, but you might be able to get away with a Dragon or something and maybe use it instead of pressuring these turrets, you actually use it to get a turret and an objective, but also get their enemy team away from you guys.
Awesome, awesome. Okay. I just want to make sure that I'm asking myself the correct series of questions every single time I face this.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again here, like optimal use of Rift, I don't know if the timer was about to run out there. But generally, like I would have waited here to like take the turret down as much as I could. And then get its first charge to kill the turret. So like get it to about like, I think it's like 50-60% at this point in the game. And then let the first charge kill it. So then you can get pretty much a guaranteed second charge off here.
Gotcha.
Because now it's lost, it's losing all its health. And just like helping you take this turret when you could have just done that on your own.
Gotcha. Yeah, one of the biggest problems, I think, if you turn the fog of war onto our side of the map, we literally just don't have vision this
Yeah.
entire game, and it's something that's terrifying to me.
Yep.
And usually when that happens, it's just like you said earlier, where I like to work off of assumptions without visual confirmation. But
Yeah.
I usually like err on the side of safety and risk adverseness. So I just use the herald to like try to drag them here and then just back and
Yeah. Let's see how good your reaction speed is.
it's
Okay.
pretty.
Oh, okay. You get it. Okay, you get out. Good board hop. Okay, that's actually pretty good. So that's fine. I mean, you get a tier 1. It's not optimal, but it's not the worst. You relieve the pressure mid at least. Could you have maximized the rift more? Yes, but I mean, that situation wasn't like inherently bad because you literally pushed 5 bot. And again, that's like the power of the rift. Like everyone over panics on rift. Like literally 5 people came bot here just to kill a rift that took tier 1. And like maybe if we did that top lane tier 2, our team, might have thought, oh, that's a good time to get a dragon, or oh, that's a good time to kill mid turret. Also, maybe you could have actually used it to get 2 things on the map rather than just relieve pressure and get a turret. You could have relieved pressure and got 2 turrets, or gotten a mid turret and a top turret. But because you were down here, I think you were just using Rift in the best situation, like that you had it for, if that makes sense.
Gotcha, gotcha. Awesome.
Good, I like not backing here. I mean, this is a fine fight. Again, alter. Yeah, okay, alt time is pretty good. Oh.
I don't blame the guy. Just give him a thumbs up. I'm like, all right, you can use a kill. I don't really need it. Whatever. Try to get back in the game, bud.
Jeez. So here, if it was a solo queue game, I would come to mid lane and try and help this because we can tell that they're trying to get this turret and they're trying to force. And I think like now's a good point. 17 minutes of the game. I've got, I'm our team's hope. Do I want to try and convert this into a split push advantage where, I might get a tier 2, but what does the tier 2 really unlock for a team that can't actually, 4v4? So, like, am I realistically, as a Jax, 4 and 2 in a game situation like this, going to be able to get away with actually getting a bot inhib while my team somehow manages to miraculously start winning or at least going even in a 4v4 that they haven't been going even for? So that's like a context question that I think ask yourself when deciding should I split or should I group. Going like, can my team 4v4? Like A, through their champion composition, B, through their items, and C, through my knowledge of their individual subjective playstyle.
Gotcha.
And
Awesome.
and
Awesome. This is exactly what I need.
yeah, and then use that to go, okay, I split push or okay, I group.
So this game, I specifically ping out to the enemy. Usually whenever I'm ahead, I like to talk to my teammates. Not like I just say simple things like, "I'm strong enough. They need a 2v or send 2 people to stop me."
Yeah, yeah,
And in this game, I think the Rumble keeps pinging his R to assure me that, hey, I can wave clear, guy. Like you
yeah.
splitting all you want, and
Okay.
that's what happens until you're gonna see very soon that that breaks for me.
Yeah. Why'd you jump out there? That's just like a couple of missed auto attacks, I guess.
I think I was turret aggroed.
Oh, okay, okay,
I can't
nice.
see too much.
Okay,
The plated.
I'll go
Sorry.
back. No, no, that's fine. Nah, yeah, you weren't turret aggroed. I don't think. Oh, yeah, okay, you were. Never mind. Okay. That's fine. It's not a big deal anyway. That is a little thing though. That's happened I think twice now. Like, obviously it doesn't make a big difference, but like say you were actually getting ganked here, now your Q's down, making sure if you're taking like making sure you know that you're going to take turret aggro here, if you're okay with that and if you're okay with using Q to get out. So like in this situation I'm sure you probably would just like, yeah, I can just use Q to get out here. But let's say if we didn't have vision of, the Nico and the enemy bot lane, maybe using Q there just to get out of auto attack range might have actually ended in your death here or something. But it's not. I don't think it's anything
Gotcha.
major.
Gotcha. Okay.
But like
I
treat
definitely wasn't
treat
thinking of
abilities
that.
with value. Like I know TF Blade
Yeah.
has sometimes talked about like he just uses his Q like almost as like obviously he uses it as an engage mechanism in laning phase. But if you watch him play, he tries to not use his Q like to engage. His micro is like almost so optimal that he can almost get trades off with just his WE without having to use
I
the Q
actually
as an engage tool.
one of the things I've been trying to learn from him because I noticed this a lot, like even against Darius and Garen, which is a lane that I struggle with. I
Yeah.
noticed that he walks up, initiates a trade with EW, and then he queues out,
Yeah, he
which is
uses
something
it as an
that I
escape
never do.
mechanism, not an engage mechanism. And I think that's the difference between. I mean, he's played thousands of games on Jax, so it's hard to try and even keep up with his level, let alone get to his level that he's at now.
Gotcha.
But his play, like his play against like Darius's and Garen's particularly, is phenomenal. Like I'm always like I inherently think a Jax loses like that early game against a Darius, but he makes it work. Um, and it's actually insane, and I can't actually pinpoint it, but it's just his like micro and how close he is to the champion, and how he like knows that okay, a Darius Q isn't actually very effective unless it's in its like max range. Like its outer circle to get the heal.
Hmm.
Like a Darius Q isn't actually that scary if you're inside right next to the Darius.
Yeah, the thing I hate is like whenever I play against those Dariuses who are clearly smurfing and they know how to use the E to pull you and it stuns you, right? So they
Yeah,
back off and they Q you when you can't dodge.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
you're still stuck in that.
I guess TF Blade avoids that by being so close to them that they don't E. So it's
Yeah,
almost like, they never get that chance to get that free
he's
Q.
he's so ballsy. Like
Mm.
I tried doing that in normals and I just
Yeah.
end up looking like an idiot.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
And people are always like, "Oh, boosted account." I'm like, "All right, I'm just trying to limit test you. Leave me alone."
so,
Oh,
like,
is
again, I think what you're doing right now is fine because Dragon's the next objective on the map, and you
Mhm.
have some really good TP avenues here. Um, but again, like, in Diamond, like, your team, this Ezreal, this Lux wouldn't be taking free damage like this and, like, ulting that. Um, So I think this is a really good situation you've set up, and I assume you know. Is that again? You're taking turret aggro. Um, but this is a really good setup for you because you know Aatrox is here. You know they're like on half health. That's not your ward, but Ezreal obviously saw that they were lowish health. So you've actually got a really good situation set up for your team here.
Yeah,
And now I want
I
I'm
didn't even use. I didn't even pan my camera over this time.
yeah,
That was
because
horrible.
I'm kind of interested to see. Okay, your team just gives the dragon. That's a bit sad.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yep. So like you actually like again you set up a really good situation for your team, and this is the problem with split pushing in like low elo is they don't understand what they should be doing when you've got a split push.
Mhm.
So like in Diamond, like your 4v4 would be contesting this because they can quickly do a check. Okay, this Jax has his TP up. Oh, I like we can assume he's gonna come help us. Or you can even ping dragon spawning so that they know you know dragon. Like or even type it like ready for TP dragon. Like nothing tilting, nothing inflammatory. Just hey, I know dragon's coming up. Do we want to contest this? If they go for it, then you're like, yep, I've got my TP, so I'm ready to go here. And if
Gotcha.
not, you just get the tier 2. But if yes, you could get the tier 2 plus even the dragon and maybe even a really nice fight here. Even though we didn't see Nico back, we could assume that we know Aatrox is low and we know Nico is low. So this is actually a pretty good fight situation for our team. But I mean, in this Flex You game, your team never even allowed you to have that situation. I'd just leave this wave now. I assume you do, yeah. Because there's no window of opportunity there. But at least you Rumble gets pressure on mid. And I guess you could use this as an indicator in game as well. It's like, okay, I just split push top to get tier 2. What was my team doing while I was doing tier 2? Okay, so Rumble kind of had a good idea. He was like, oh, I'll try and push mid because we've got top pressure. But
Mhm.
my Lux, my Ezreal, like my Graves came topside. Like why? So like my Ezreal, my Lux, and my Graves were pretty clueless as to this split push, but my Rumble was good. Okay, so if I get in a situation now in 5 minutes time where I'm doing the same thing for bot turret, I can assume my team is probably not going to react correctly to Baron. So like they're either gonna
Okay.
let the enemy take the Baron, or they're gonna like in dive a 4v4 or a 4v5, because they don't actually again understand the split push. So identifying when your team can understand, like if your team knows what a split push does and how they react to the split push. So do they react negatively, like by spam pinging you? Do they react positively, like a Rumble, like saying, "Hey, I've got my R, I'm okay to wave clear," and then he reacts positively physically by pressuring mid lane while you pressure bot lane. And
Coach,
using those like actual like player like behaviors to identify if my team knows what split pushing does, and then use that as another question to add to: do I have TP? What's the next objective? Do I win the 1v1? Does my team know what to do in a split push scenario?
Coach, one of the things that I had the biggest conflict with
Yep.
is I'm hearing two separate things from like high elo players, right? Like when they say you need to play around your team versus like you know how they tell you, like a lot of streamers like to tell you, even if it's the wrong call, it's better to do it as a team than to let them do stupid stuff.
Yeah, that's
But at the same
LS.
time, like Dopa also says the opposite, right? Like he's like, don't do stupid plays. Do always make the correct play and assume your team will do the correct play. Like I don't know which is correct, and I always assume like I don't want to build bad habits, so I'm just gonna do what the correct play is. Like in this case, they didn't know how to react to a split push, but I'm still gonna split push because I think in my mind that is the correct play, even though I don't adopt my strategy around my team.
Yeah.
And once the outcome of this game reinforces that opinion even more for me, and I'm not sure if that's correct because once I start trying to group, the game quickly falls apart.
Yeah. So the first thing is like high elo is its own bubble. Like like scenarios in high elo, you've watched the games, like do not happen in, even in diamond. They don't happen a lot of the time. Obviously in this flex queue game, who knows what MMR this is. um the situations that high elo players can get in, like they're all at the same level or relative, because they're in the top 0.001, like I think it's just 0.1% of their region. So it's like it's the best of the best. So you can assume that they know the correct decision and they're gonna be able to understand a split push. But even in diamond, is it diamond 4 you're in right now for solo queue?
Yeah, yeah.
They might not understand that, and so the context of that individual game is really important, because some games you're going to get a diamond team that completely understands the split push, and then you can do the correct thing. So I think like having one school of thought, like League is such a complex game, so like there's no black and white with League of Legends because there's so many variables. So I think in high elo, because the good players know how to eliminate a lot of those variables, they understand. Everyone inherently understands, oh, we've got a Jax, that's a split push comp. But here, these guys aren't thinking, oh, we've got a Jax, that's a split push comp. They're going, what the fuck is Jax doing split pushing? We're losing here. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
so
gotcha.
it's like of course you can think like just in the high elo bubble of I'm always going to make the correct play, and it's up to my team to make the correct play with me. But in reality, in the like in the 99%, like 99.5% of games, like that everyone's playing in, that the majority of players are playing in, you cannot assume that. So like I hate giving black and white advice when it's gray.
I see. I definitely see why that's detrimental too. I
Y-
appreciate it though. Thank
yeah,
you.
and it's, I think it's a benefit of like understanding, like high elo players don't understand why silver players are bad. Like they kind of do, but they don't get that obviously it's meant to be played, like the game's meant to be played at high elo, but the reality is 90, like almost the whole league community is never going to get to play at the correct level of league that high elo players assume league should be played at. So we all have to play at the level that we're actually, like the reality we're actually in, not the utopia that, apparently Challenger high elo is. Obviously it's not a utopia, but comparing Challenger gameplay to, I guess, even Diamond gameplay, there's a lot of differences.
Gotcha.
Because it's like I've watched TF Blade go unranked to whatever Challenger, unranked to number one, and you look like over the days you look and see just how much more his team starts to react better to the split push. Like in the first couple of games, like silver, gold, plat, diamond, like they don't really know how to respond, but as he gets higher, they slowly get better and better. So he has to group less. He has to like influence his team's decisions less because he's playing his playstyle and they're playing around the split push.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'm like this.
Yeah, this one here, I literally like made myself a sacrificial lamb so my
Okay.
team could get some pressure.
Yeah.
I noticed that they were pinging. They're on their way. I'm like, okay, go take
Okay.
it.
When are you gonna R here? Or you're not gonna R?
I think I just are late. I really.
Yeah. Yeah, so you are like when you've got what 30% of your health left. So if
I'm a Trinivere player.
if yeah,
Oh my God,
if
suck.
we're doing the sacrificial lamb, like let's do it right. Like let's buy as many seconds as we can, because Like an extra 3 seconds with a Ezreal Graves can actually mean a tier 2 turret at this point. Like the armor is so weak, like 61 armor, 21 minutes. Like these guys can get 2 turrets here. If we're gonna die, let's get 3 turrets, not 2 turrets. So if we
Yeah.
make the sacrifice decision, which I don't think dying when you're 4-2 with a 200 gold bounty is worth tier 2 because they're getting more gold than what you're getting. Obviously,
Gotcha.
we're getting this as well, but it's still a pretty even trade in that now you're off the map, and now they've got a 4v5 for the next 30 seconds, although Zach's top, and you're down here.
Gotcha. Yeah, my mentality was I know like in my head I knew the gold differential was going to be in their favor, but I tried to like in a game of chess, you know how you can open the game,
Yeah,
like the quote unquote like opening the map, right? By taking down mid turret, in my head I wanted to open up the lanes so that my team can get more farm, and two, we can start trying to set up picks, because
yeah,
usually the strategy that I notice in high elo, in like whenever my team falls behind, they do a really good job, especially towards warding up, and
yeah,
then like the bigger the map, the more chances there are to catch, right? But
yeah.
clearly this isn't happening in here. I kind of
And
hope,
and
but
like look at the vision scores as well. I mean, your Lux has 29 vision score at 22 minutes. Yeah, there's no warding really going on here. I mean, like she's not doing a bad job. Like she's got some pretty good, like when that dragon was up, she actually had some pretty good principal wards where she warded there, and here. And now
Mhm.
she's warding here, and here. So her wards aren't bad. She's just not really doing it enough. But yeah, I know what you mean. And again, we got to stop thinking like high elo. We got to actually think in this game, what is my team doing when I split push? Like generally, they're not optimizing the split push. So should I even
Gotcha.
suicide for this? And is this actually going to open the map up in reality in this game? Sure, it might, again in a diamond game, that might open the map up, and like this is opening the map up when you get the top tier 2 and the bot tier 2. But here, you're not really opening um the game up for your
I
team.
see. I see. Gotcha.
Do you
So
react?
I guess
Yeah, okay.
this is this is definitely a situation where I, yeah, I can see why this coaching session is more so of like I'm trying to ask for diamond level feedback in a game that really can't offer that. And
Yeah,
I guess I just want to like at this point I'd rather like just because I can't tell you the impossible. I'd like to learn what I'm doing wrong that could like it basically if I'm smurfing, right? In this case this is like a smurf situation.
yeah,
How do I smurf even harder? Because I'm pretty sure like if TF Blade was playing Jack here,
yeah.
what would he be doing differently that would enable him to carry this game versus what I screwed up on?
Well, yeah, I think he'd actually try and force a team fight. Like this is probably a good team fight scenario to force if your team actually goes for it. But also Rumble's dead, so I think grouping here is what you should do. Obviously, you have TP though, so again you could just go back to split. Like I don't think there's a. It's hard to say what the Smurf situation is here because one we aren't even like in a smurfing position at the moment. So like sure you're a
Gotcha.
better player, but we haven't actually done the groundwork to get ourselves in a position to I guess smurf on the opponents. We know in our head like if I was smurf like or if I was 15-1 what I'd be doing, but we're actually 4-3 versus a 7-4 Aatrox. Obviously we're at 11k, so we're more ahead by everyone except obviously the Lucian with the 15-1. So I think we had
Yeah.
we had to go back to laning phase where we tried to 1v4 here, where we weren't optimizing our ult, where we weren't doing all these little fundamental basic concepts that build yourself up to be able to smurf in the mid late game. Because
Gotcha.
because the enemy
Gotcha.
the enemy's thinking the enemy isn't thinking you're a Smurf right now. They're just going, oh, okay, this Jax is like pretty good. He's always beating the Aatrox, but the Aatrox is out roaming him, out team fighting him. This Jax isn't really a threat. So when you split push, they're not really seeing you as a threat. They're just seeing this guy as a Jax who's disagreeing with his teammates and trying to force a split push.
Ah, gotcha.
Like, do you get those games where like you see the Jax, like they might not
Yeah,
have
yeah.
lost lane
They're like,
or
oh, you're rage splitting.
yeah, the
Like they
rage,
think that
pretty
I'm
much
trying to
rage
like,
splitting.
yeah.
Yeah,
Gotcha. Okay. Here I actually do notice that Lucian was by himself and that I can't really do anything, so I try to catch him out.
I think that's actually a pretty good idea. Um, do you know sums at this point?
No, I actually have
Okay.
no idea at all.
Mm.
All I know is that I have flash, and I know, like, I don't know 100%, but I have a really big gut feeling just from playing Jack so much that I could beat this guy, even despite the fact that he's 15 and 1.
So I would have tried to use my Q to actually jump on him, not a creep. I know we've still got our Flash and our Blade the Rune King, but I'd try and Q on him because we've missed like 1 second of damage on him, and now we don't have anything to make sure this counter strike goes off without him flash dashing.
Gotcha, gotcha.
So I think this is definitely like I assume you get the kill here, yeah. So that's
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the best decision you've made, like one of the best single decisions because you've just taken him off the map and you just got a massive gold bounty.
Hmm.
And bounties,
I
so
know, like,
bounties are a really good way to maximize smurfing. So like in a situation where yeah, the Lucian is a bounty, go kill him when he split pushes because it gives you a massive gold injection. That's like a 900 gold play for like 10 seconds or 15 seconds.
hmm. Yeah, one of the things I noticed this game, like I know I was 4-2, but I also knew I think like 3 of those kills were shutdowns
Yeah.
specifically on Trox when he was roaming.
Yeah,
So
and
I
we
know
can
like
see your gold.
internally,
Yeah. You're now
yeah.
like actually have the most income in the game.
And like, do you watch like, do you know Skill Capped at all on YouTube
Yeah, I
or?
watched a little bit, a couple of the videos.
Yeah, like a lot of them, like I like watching those, like how do you smurf in X Elo, where like they send like Hector down to whatever Elo, and they're always talking about getting the most gold,
Mm,
and that's my number one objective every single game is to make sure I'm constantly eating up resources.
yeah.
But I also know like I do the same thing on Shen whenever I play Shen, and I know you're not supposed to because it puts your team further behind, but I just don't know like when is it appropriate to trust, like in this game would you trust your teammates or like try to feed some gold to your Ezreal or like your Graves or your Rumble, or should you just be as greedy as possible?
Um, in this game, I would. It's. I wouldn't. I mean, Rumble kind of knows what he's doing, but he's not really executing it. But the rest of your team are pretty clueless. So, like, I think what we keep forgetting is that the laning phase didn't go according to plan for a smurfing situation. Like, it went quite badly when we could have prevented it from going badly. And I think that's affected the mid late game because
Gotcha.
I feel like you could even be 3 items here if we played that early game a little bit better. We didn't get those 2 deaths. Was it 1 death here with the four
Yeah,
v
yeah,
one,
no, yeah, it was two. It was
and
two.
then
It's huge.
mismanaging the eight. So like that play and that play, that's not those aren't Smurf plays. Those are like not not mentally unstable, but like incorrect decision
Yeah,
making plays
yeah.
that don't just affect that part of the game. They knock on into mid late game where now you know you're an item behind, say what you would be, and instead of
Wow.
just 300 gold, like you're now the most valuable player by 300 gold, you're actually the most valuable player by like 3k gold.
Gotcha.
Um, good TP here. Again, like TP positions. If we're gonna TP, let's make it count. This minion better, I think, just because of where the exit routes are, and obviously that's like in a couple of seconds you need to make that TP decision. So that isn't the worst TP, but I think in like if
Good
you
to know.
can think about it a bit better, and also in VOD reviews, always whenever you TP, ask yourself, is this the best TP for this situation? Did I need to
Gotcha.
TP? Where could I have TP better? So here, or even if you're wanting to come from this side, like maybe a here, although they'll see that TP, at least you cut out this exit point. But I think this one's the best one because you cut out these two. You can even use the blasting cone to jump in, or like use that scrying bloom to get vision of everyone. But I mean, you pretty much have vision
Gotcha.
because like this is like an awkward position to jump in.
Yeah.
But
I think I
instead,
end
if
up.
you came from here, you've now got these two. Like, so Thresh
Wow.
might not have flashed, right? Or he might have flashed because Lux went for the Q. But now you're behind here, and you can use the blast cone to either stop them from coming out here or to engage and then use your Q where after Thresh flashes. And so you can use this as like a flash or a cue, but also as a way to block or influence where these guys go next and then choke them out and have your team
Wow.
follow up.
Okay.
So
Okay.
just
Yeah, I
one
definitely see
TP
it.
makes a whole, like, it changes this entire team fight. Just like maybe an extra zero point 0.5 seconds of scrolling a little bit further or quickly thinking, where's the best TP here? Okay, here it is. Let's go. And then get the fight here instead of, look where you are now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're
I'm
there
basically just
instead
adding
of
in.
here. Like,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So this is already showing me like literally TFA wouldn't have died twice up there. In fact, he definitely wouldn't have. And
Yeah, and
also he
then
can identify
TF Blade would
TP
have done the
points.
best TP. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Like these type of minor things I don't ever catch up on, and like knowing this now is huge. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's the problem with like doing your own game reviews. So if you have you obviously you can use a coach, but if you have like a friend who's a similar elo to you, and you go, hey, like, do you want to review each other's games, or like, can you help me review this game, and I'll buy you a coffee, or like, I don't know how you work with your friends, but like if you have league friends who are at a similar rank or they're top laners as well, is there a way we can like mutually trade each other's VOD reviews and get a second opinion?
Gotcha.
Is a good way if we're wanting to do VOD reviews, or if we do our own VOD reviews, can we make it more effective if we're not being able to identify what we're doing wrong? Is an important one. If you don't just want to always go to a coach, because obviously that costs money, whereas a friend, knows your playstyle better unless you've got a long-term coach.
Gotcha.
La 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 la. Yeah. Again, I'll just ping my team to back the fuck off here.
Back off. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
That's
good.
literally what I
Okay,
do.
good. Yeah, okay, good. Because
I played one
minimalist comms is fine, but if you can comm to make sure your team isn't inting, it goes a long way.
Yeah. Yeah. I just type them like back
yeah.
off, reset,
Yeah.
especially for objective like Dragon. I think is coming up pretty soon if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and so your mid late game decisions have like been of a Smurf mentality, but we didn't have the groundwork of a Smurf. So like we had
Awesome.
to
And,
we
and I
had
need
to
to
fuck we
optimize
had to
some.
smash laning phase a little bit harder to actually
Okay.
make these split pushes a lot more threatening and a lot more effective. But also like
Wow.
some like I don't know the percentages, but like 20% of or like 30% of your games, you're not actually going to be able to change the outcome of whether it's a win or a loss. Like you look at every challenger player, their win rates are generally between 55 and like 60 to 65% win ratios. So they're losing 30 to 35% of their games, not because they're bad players, but just because their team had an inter, or like there's certain things that you're never going to be able to win 100% of your games. So this is a game, like, of course we could have made all these like little decisions that might have changed the outcome of the game, but again, we've got a 1-4 Graves, we've got a 2-6 Rumble, we've got a 2-9 Ezreal, we've got a 3-6 Lux. Zach, they now have a tank that's, oh, and never mind, he's going full AP. So again, that's a flex Q thing. But you now have to go like shit. Like this is actually, like, sure, I can beat myself up for not being able to carry this game, but I literally had to play this game almost perfectly, which is impossible as a human, to actually carry this game. So sometimes it's like it's good to review these games, but also take it with a grain of salt that this game might not have been winnable. Don't think that in the game itself, but when you're reviewing a game, have the context and the hindsight of maybe this game wasn't winnable, but what still could I have done differently to improve myself as a player individually? And that is laning phase with those deaths. The split pushing was fine, but the micro, alt timings, flashing, teleporting, these are things I all could have improved on. They might not have changed the outcome of the game. So don't just think of improving these for the outcome of the game. Think of improving these for, not because I'm a Smurf or I should be Smurfing. Think of them, I want to become a better player. Not, I want to
Got it.
Smurf and I want to show in Flex Q games that I'm Smurfing. Go, I want to
Gotcha.
become a better player because my goal here is to get better at solo queue, not to Smurf in Flex Q.
Gotcha.
If your goal's
Gotcha.
to flex in Flex Q, that's fine. Like we can think like I need to be a Smurf, I need a style, I need to spam my mastery whenever I get a kill. But because your goal is solo queue improvement, I think it's much more
Gotcha.
important.
Gotcha. That's huge.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, this is
And
just a second opinion. You know all this. It's just having someone who hasn't seen your gameplay or who isn't you, so again, a friend, to go like this is great that you're trying to smurf, but you're not doing this, this, and this. Whereas you would have thought, like how am I not smurfing this when like you didn't do this, you didn't do that, you didn't do this. But because you're so used to your playstyle, you don't necessarily see these as mistakes. You just see these as normal things that you always do. So they've become like normalized to an extent that you don't even know if they're wrong or not. Or you know they're
Mhm.
wrong, but you can't necessarily pinpoint why they're wrong.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So asking the right questions, I think, is important in VOD reviews. And sometimes you can't ask the right questions on yourself because being like self-critical is hard to do to an extent. Like some people are really good at it, some people aren't. Most people are just okay at it. But for the majority of us, we're not going to be able to get the best analysis from just watching our own playstyle. And that's why there's coaches. That's why there's, so many analysts on pro play teams now. Because they need as many opinions as you can is generally better. Because everyone
I
has their
see.
own context, everyone has their own experiences. And then you develop a really informed opinion. So you're taking my information, you're taking your own information, and then you're using those two together to come to a conclusion of, okay, I might not agree with everything my coach or my friend is saying, but I do agree with this, this, and this. And now I've actually developed a really strong opinion where it's based on me and someone else's opinion rather than just my own opinion or just the coach's opinion. And then you've also got TF Blade's opinion and High Elo opinion that you can also weave in to the decision making process and the analysis process.
Gotcha.
Cool. Executioners is good here. I like that. Obviously, you've had that for a while now. Sorry, I'm just coming back to the game. But
No,
this
no, no,
this
not at
this
all.
review isn't about this game. Like
Yeah, I
as in
think
the
more than
outcome.
anything.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we've both slowly realized that, which I think was your goal with this game review.
Yeah, ultimately the biggest thing that attracted me to like your site in the first place is literally having the tools and asking the right questions because I feel like I try to be as self-critical as possible, but I also know that I'm a person who pays unnecessary attention to certain details and
Yeah,
I pigeonhole myself to things that don't matter.
yeah,
Like or I mean they do matter, but like not the critical things that I'm overlooking, like when to group, like why is it that I'm failing in the snowball, what is it that I'm doing wrong. Like I never would have saw the TP timing, I never would have known to check for emotional triggers of
yeah.
what caused me to like dive them 1v4 top lane and dying again. Like that type of stuff I would have completely overlooked. And I feel like that's more important than anything else.
Yeah. And also understand when you're reviewing yourself, understand that you have biases, and if you can somehow understand those biases, or be aware that every review or analysis you're making of your own gameplay has a bias, and it's coming from a certain bias of, hey, I'm really trying to smurf hard in this. That's a bias of like your thought process in this game that you need to be aware of that I don't think you were previously.
Yeah, coach, one of the things that my mentality is like as long as I keep telling this to myself because it's like an escape or an excuse to not play ranked, but basically in my head I'm saying I can keep developing my skills in normals or flex queue to the point where I can 1v9 so hard in Murph games that if I were to go into like a normal game where everyone else isn't bad, then
Yeah.
I don't even have to try as hard. Like my autopiloting itself was so good that I can like, if I can already 1v9, then in a 5v5 situation I should be able to win eyes closed.
Yeah.
Is that just like wrong? Because I see these bad habits I'm developing now that you're pointing them out.
Yeah, I think we've already answered this, and I think flex Q, we're
Hmm.
just not learning what we want to be learning.
Hmm.
You can translate, I guess it's like a theory of like, I don't know the correct word, but like you can translate a certain percentage of flex queue knowledge to a solo queue game, but it's not going to be 100% transfer. It's not going to be 100% efficient transfer. So what can we do to make the most efficient transfer of knowledge while practicing and not affecting our, elo or ideally the best one is play the scenario that we want to learn. So just play on your diamond account. But let's take a step back and go, okay, what's the second best one? Let's play on our solo queue plat account. What's the third best? Oh, flex queue. So like trying to get the most game like or like most similar game scenarios to what we're wanting to accomplish is the best thing possible.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So I think again, it's just let's not play flex. If
Got it.
unless we're also conscious of plat smurf elo, which I think shouldn't be a problem. Like if
No.
yeah, I don't think you should be caring about that at all.
Yeah, I have no rank anxiety with that at all.
Yeah, that's a really good sign. That it's a mental thing, not an actual skill thing. Cause like what plat 1 diamond 4, like sure there's a bit of difference, but there's not much. Like no one notices when they get plat 1 to diamond 4. Wow, these guys are so much better. Like actually, they just think it because it's diamond. And it's partly because of this ego shit that every League of Legends player has, where the number one determining factor for how good you are is your rank, which is like toxic in itself. And I do think it's a reason for why everyone's so toxic. Like you don't deserve to be in this MMR, like better jungler wins.
Yeah.
All this stuff stems from your original rank. And it's like, why is this noob in my game? When really they might be having a bad game. Sure, they probably shouldn't be playing. Like maybe their girlfriend just broke up with them, or maybe they, you know, are depressed, or like we don't know their situation, but we immediately just go, they're a shit player, and it all comes back from the rank. And I think we're gonna be able to get you over it, which is a good thing. It's just gonna come through the Smurf. It's not gonna come through the flex queue games.
Awesome. I'll start on that right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rest of this game is just me going mental boom. Because at this point, I'm just lost at what to do. Our base is cracked. I couldn't break their inhib. I'm just done.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, this is a pretty mentally draining game as well. And that's a reason why playing game scenarios that are very similar is good, because like this game is so draining, and you probably wouldn't get a mentally draining game like this in plat elo, or definitely not as likely in plat 1.
Got it.
But I think mental state as well is an important one. So like, I'm sure when you want to play solo queue, try and even I've done this before, and it depends on the person, but try to even like, I don't know how serious you are, but when you feel like playing solo queue, try and identify why you feel like playing solo queue. And so is it, oh, I had a coffee in the morning, or I had a really good sleep, or I played 3 games on my FlexQ account and they went really well, or I want to try this out. Like, try and identify what's triggering you to want to play solo queue emotionally on that day. And then if we can replicate those emotions to get us to play more solo queue on our main account. So like if it's like a habits, or if it's a series of events, if we can start identifying the patterns that leads you up to wanting to play solo queue on your main account, we might actually be able to also start getting you to play more games on your account and boost your confidence through getting you mentally stimulated to a point where you're ready to play solo queue.
Gotcha.
Because I think that's really important. That's something that resonates with me is some days I just wake up and I'm like, yes, I really want to play on my main today and climb. And like, sure, I might lose 2 and they'll be like, oh shit, I guess I didn't climb today. But some days you're like, no, I do not want to play on my main at all. I mean, I just get anxious. Like I get nervous even thinking about playing on my main. I don't think I'm good enough. But it's like, why yesterday or the week before did I think I was good enough to play a game, but now today I don't think I'm good enough? And then you go, oh, I just had an argument with my partner. Oh, my, roommates just like harassed me or something, or I just lost 3 games in a flex queue and I'm like, why can't I smurf? And that's actually affecting now my ability and my confidence to play on my main account.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
So I feel like I over-explain sometimes. So if you feel like I'm just over-explaining a concept or point, just be like, yep.
Not at all, not at
Okay.
all. So like I'm a person who like very much so likes to listen
Yeah.
and told what to do. It's just like I'm an Asian person, so it's just something like I'm
Yeah.
used to growing up. If that makes
Okay.
any sense.
Cool, cool, fair enough. I should be slowing this down, but I mean, this is okay.
Yeah, at this point, it's just like that TP play, making sure it's the correct TP, like place
Yeah.
to TP, and then also like this is just at this point, yeah, I think we're so far behind that. I think we do make a small comeback and then
Yeah,
we overstay and
you
then
got Baron. Um, okay, this is all fine because you got Graves backing to defend.
hmm
Yeah. A thing some
and then I
people
think
get wrong, and we'll see what happens here, is like understanding what to do when you get Baron and understanding why we're wanting to do Baron. Like, are we doing Baron just because it's up, or are we doing Baron because, oh, we can now push and our team knows that we can now push? Because I see in a lot of games, like, people get Baron just because it's up, and then they all just go back to split pushing. Like, everyone just takes a lane, the jungler goes back to farming. It's like, well, that's not really the point of Baron. Unless the point of
yeah.
Baron was you were lucky to get a steal, but even then it's like, hey, can we at least use this Baron that we stole for like the next 3 minutes of the buff?
So in my head right now, and this happens a lot because again, I play with a lot of friends who oftentimes fall behind.
Yeah.
But usually, what happens is my goal for King Baron, especially in these situations, is to get gold to the team, that 300 gold to the team, and most importantly, to stall the game out.
Mm.
I don't necessarily push an objective, but I just want to make sure my teammates are one, eating up the wave, and two, our opponent doesn't have the Baron, so that we can actually just extend the lead a little bit. Because in my head, like
Or play
I'm
out the
so
game for a bit longer. Yeah.
yeah, like as long as I am at, it's like an ADC mentality, right? Like as long as I can get 6 items, I think I can carry 1v9.
Yeah.
That's my mentality instead of like having 4 items compared to my enemy's 4 items.
Yeah. Yep.
So in this case, we just got, I think, Dragon plus Baron. So I think that was like a, in my head, like I don't want any tempo advantage from this. I just want to make sure that like this game can stall to the point where my Ezreal's relevant because I know at this point he's really just gone.
Yeah. And do you think you can win a 5v5 in this situation? Like,
I don't think so, just because like in my head I look at the score. I honestly didn't look at their items, but I just looked at the scoreboard and I'm like, okay, none of my teammates are positive.
have you had a 5v5 yet this game?
No, I think most of these are people getting caught.
Yeah.
And then it's like, yeah, it's just like literally one or two people getting caught. Because I think in low elo, there's never an intentional 5v5, even over objective. It's like
Yeah.
one person tries to ward, gets caught, and then
Yeah.
it slowly transitions into this like long, pitifully drawn out fight where more and more people just die. And
Yeah.
then, yeah.
And this is something that again I would recommend when you're playing, like you're testing and learning. Is okay. I've spent 30 minutes with my main objective to split push,
hmm
and I've done two TPs that have tried to get a pick or force a fight. Why don't I just now try, hey, we've got Baron, that's a nice little buff. Why don't we just all try grouping mid? Okay, my Rumble, Lux, and Graves are already mid lane. Why don't I just come mid and let's see what happens. It's 31 minutes in now. If we can't win a fight with Baron buff, like we're probably not going to win this game, but at least we tried to find a new win condition here. And like trying to force a 5v5 because what you've been doing for 30 minutes hasn't worked. It's sure gotten you a little lead and you're the most valuable player in the game right now. Oh, actually now Lucian's taken over again, but it hasn't worked. It's gotten us a Baron, but it's lost us a mid inhib. It's opened us up for bot, but their team has what, 3 dragons now? 1, 2, 3
Yeah.
dragons. We've got 1. So like just try, because what have we got to lose? At this point, you don't have TP, you're split pushing, sure, it's good, but they're all just going to come here and defend against you. When in reality, let's
Yeah,
just group and see what could happen. Like, let's just see.
that's
Maybe our team, like, pulls it together, but we haven't had a 5v5 yet. Sure, I don't trust them, but we haven't actually had a 5v5 yet. Maybe they all actually know how to play their champions. they've just been super bad with vision or super bad with macro, but their micro might be okay. Or, you know, we've got a Rumble, we've got a Jax, we've got a Lux Ezreal. They're all pretty easy ultimates to hit. Graves ult, Rumble ult, Ezreal ult, Lux ult. You know, they're 4 ults that are long range, AoE. Maybe we could win a team fight. Let's try it.
Gotcha. Because in my head, like, I stopped just short of that, where I just say to myself, I know my splitting's not working, and I really don't provide a solution. I literally just, like, my mental goes boom. Like, I know splitting doesn't work, but at this point, like, I just kind of do that. I'm just, yeah, spamming my, like, typing my team just call. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think, like, of course, this is great because you've got 2 bot, but look, they're not doing anything. This guy's taking Raptors, he's taking Wolves, Lux is holding the wave for some reason, so, like, Graves is here, Ezreal's here, like, why isn't anyone taking this wave? And, like, sure, you're stalling, but your team's not doing anything with the stall other than just delaying a game that is not, like, I don't think you're going to win by stalling necessarily.
Gotcha. Yeah, that was pretty much my only strategy. Like,
Yeah.
my last straw is
Yeah.
just I'm just stall and hope that someone gets a pick, and then we win the game off of
Which
that.
which I do a lot of the time as well, but then I go like, okay, what if I had like a next last straw? So let's say the stall straw doesn't work. What haven't we done yet this game? Have we? So sometimes maybe we haven't actually split push yet. Should we try that? Maybe we haven't team fought yet. Should we try that? Maybe we haven't gotten a pick yet. And obviously it's solo queue. Players won't always listen to you, but in Plat and Diamond, you've got a much better chance of working with your team together to try something new. Like, hey, I think we need a pick. What do you guys think? And like generally Diamond and Plat, they might not respond, but usually they will. Everyone will have their own opinion. And at least you either start a discussion or you all like physically come to a lane or come for a pick just through like pings. But at least trying something new or attempting to try something new, you've got nothing to lose.
Gotcha.
But
Gotcha.
this is a pretty good pick though. I assume it goes well.
I tunnel on this Nico, thinking that I could kill her off with Zanya's instead of helping the Graves earlier.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I throw this next fight. I do kill the Nico, I think, but I end up dying to Lucian, which game over.
Oh, okay, Lucian's coming
So
from
here's
here.
like, yeah, here's where I think I can like collapse on them. Lucian's firing off his R. I'm trying to catch him as much as I can. I don't know why I'm.
Yeah, Counter-Strike, not necessary again. So back to the micro. What's that Counter-Strike actually doing? Lucian's ulting you.
Yeah, it does absolutely nothing. It's just
And
a
then,
waste of a really good skill.
and then
And now I
again,
don't have it.
it's a 1-3 Thresh. Why am I jumping on him when I know exactly where Lucian is? Why am I jumping on the Thresh? So again, just like a little bit of micro knowledge. I've got Rumble Lux here. Like, can we just jump onto the Lucian? We know we burnt his flash because our flash is pretty much on a very similar cooldown because of this fight. So he's only got his dash to get away. He's got his heal, of course, and he's got Thresh Lantern. So maybe that was your inherent or like subconscious mind. If I aim the Thresh, even if he lanterns Lucian, nothing's going to happen. But in hindsight,
Yeah.
we would have had
In all
Counter-Strike up
honesty,
for this as well.
yeah.
And
In
so,
all honesty,
yeah,
this is just like me autopiloting at this
yeah,
point, and I think, like at this point and beyond, the game is going to be the same, where you're going to see me tunnel on the Thresh really hard, because at that point I'm just hitting the closest person instead of like actually trying to, kill the people who matter.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just a really poor performance overall.
And this is like this, yeah, I agree. But no, like it wasn't a poor performance. You did like well. You just it was not good enough, but it was hard, it was very hard to be good enough to win this game. That's what I was trying to get at earlier. Like some games are just like almost humanly impossible. If you were a bot who, ran an AI script that was machine learning Jack's games from TF Blade or something, sure, it might have like worked out, but very hard as a human yourself. But this is probably the best this was probably the best comeback opportunity of this game because one, it was your first 5v5, like everyone, like almost a 5v5. Of course Graves died here, but that was a 2v2. But then this turns into a pretty good fight here. I'll just go back a bit further. So like of course we kill these guys. Now, let's say we didn't start counter-striking here. We didn't go for the Thresh, but instead we just, maybe we fainted for the Thresh, right? But we actually
Yeah, and then
wanted the
go.
Lucian. And so would this fight have gone differently if I now have my counter-strike? I mean, Rumble ult wasn't good, but I've got counter-strike, so at least I get the stun on Lucian, and now my Lux Rumble can deal some damage while Lucian's CC, because we know he doesn't have flash, he has heal, and he's just dashed.
Yeah, this fight would have been really different because Zach wouldn't have been able to engage on me there too, because I'll be jumping on Lucian, who's further up.
Yep. And even again, a mismanagement of ult, because we ulted here when we weren't actually getting aimed. I think you ended out of this fight with like 70% health.
Yeah, yeah.
So
They
like,
were focusing.
sure, you might have lost an extra 5-10% health, but at least then you have ult. Because like the Aatrox is a problem, sure. The Nico kind of a problem, but again, we know who the problem is. So if we can save as many resources for the Lucian as possible, because we know he doesn't have flash, so he's only got one escape mechanism, which I can counter with my QE, because he's only got a dash. So if I save my QE and my ult, I have the best chance of killing their win condition, which is Lucian. None of these guys are the enemy's win condition. So if I can eliminate the enemy's win condition, that's a win condition for our team, right?
Yeah, actually, Coach, this led me to another question that I wasn't
Yep.
exactly sure of. But if you were to freeze the game here, right, and like just take everything away and put it on like a chessboard, where like all the 5 characters are positioned against each other,
Yeah.
in this game state, what would the ideal team fight be? Would we be going front to back? Like, should I be trying to just go gung ho for the Lucian? Because I feel like they can peel me off so easily.
Yeah. I. It's hard because like a summoner's up. So everyone's just got everything up.
Yeah, yeah,
I think just it's you'd ideally want Lux getting a pick because she's your source of engage across your team. So I don't think you would, if everyone was playing at their optimal, Lux would be getting the pick, Rumble would be ulting on top of that. Zach would also be looking for a pick on you guys. So Zach and Thresh are their sources of engagement. Then Nico would be following up, Aatrox would be following up, but Lucian and Ezreal would be both at the back. So you could either decide, okay, my team doesn't have a tank, so I need to be the front line, or I'm going to trust that my team, my Rumble has a Zhonya's, my Lux has heal, my Ezreal has flash. Maybe they can frontline it for a bit while I can somehow get a flank on the Lucian and maybe get a flank, but it's very hard to kind of chessboard this, I think, because the team,
gotcha.
there's so many variables about who engages first, like who gets the best engage. Probably Zach would get a better engage because he's got the most long range, but maybe he's not playing as well as the Lux. So it's hard
Yeah,
to
that
say, but I think your primary objective, yes, would be to kill Lucian. But what do you have to do before that to get to the Lucian? Do I have to wait? Like, what are the visual cues or the ability cues? Do I have to wait for Thresh to use his flame, his Q? Do I have to wait for Zac to use his ult? Do I have to dodge Nico ult? Do I have to do all these things? Then can I get to the Lucian? Instead of I just need to get to the Lucian. Obviously you need to get to the Lucian, but how do you get to the Lucian? Do you still have Counter-Strike when you get to the Lucian? Do I still have my ult when I get to the Lucian? Am I using my flash and my Q just to get to the Lucian who has flash, dash, and heal? So there's a lot of context and a lot of variables.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's part of like knowing what to ask myself and considering these variables that I wanted to review this with you, because at this point I honestly don't even know. Like in my head, I didn't
Yeah.
have a game anymore.
And
It's
and
just
that's not necessarily, that's not you lacking the knowledge. It's you in a mental state that is making you see the game in a way that it might not necessarily be. So like at this point of the game, like I'm literally saying, this is like you have a really good chance here of winning the game if you saved your ult and just saved your Counter-Strike. So two tiny decisions Whereas you probably during this game, which it's very hard to change, you during this game are like, fuck, this is such a hopeless game. We have no chance. Like, I'm just going to try and I don't even know what I'm doing at this point. I'm just trying to kill people. But if we just had changed two things, this entire fight might have gone differently. You would have got another gold bounty that might have got you your last item. Although, yeah, it might have got you your last item. Or it might have gone to your Ezreal, who's a bit lacking gold, or your Rumble. Like, it could have just changed the whole outcome of the game.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like that opportunity I didn't even see.
Yeah. And that's second opinion. So, however you do it, if you can get a second opinion when you're feeling stuck or plateaued, or not confident or unsure where you need to improve next. And it's also you might think like LS, but everyone gets affected mentally that then affects their decision. So you might be the best player in the world, but if you tilt, like I don't know, like a good example, who's a good player that just shuts down when they tilt, like a Shin or something. Like when he tilts, he just plays so badly, even though he knows necessarily what he's meant to be doing. Like he in his mind, if he reviewed the game, he'd be like, shouldn't have done that, should have done that, shouldn't have done that, should have done this instead of that. He could identify, most players could identify every single thing. So it's not necessarily your knowledge, it's you being in the correct mental state to understand that this fight's winnable and how you need to get into that mental state. So is it like, do I need to be thinking more positively? Do I need to be thinking, what haven't we tried yet this game? And using that as my source of hope. Like instead of going, here's another fight that we're going to lose, think, oh, this is our first team fight of the game. Maybe this is a chance to kill Lucian, and use it to spur your mental, reinvigorate your mental to get that tilt out, that lost defeatist mentality out, and think, okay, maybe there's a hope here. What have we got to lose? Obviously, again, it's a flex queue game, but it's a flex queue game. Who cares? I'm trying to learn here. Let's do something we haven't done yet this game. Okay, we haven't done a team fight. Let's try it. See what happens. And
awesome.
then getting your micro fixed, which is something that you can do very quickly.
Gotcha.
Saving your E and using your R better. Because those are really your two only micro flaws. Just your E. I think that was the first maybe bad E you did. Maybe you did one bad E in laning phase, but your Rs have pretty much. I don't think you've done an optimal R yet or a necessary R. Sometimes you've just ultied for just because you can.
Yeah, like that first engage onto Aatrox was pointless.
And the only situation I'd say use your ult if you want if you want that proc, the Spellblade proc. But besides that, there's no point in uselessly using your ult, and even then that's a pretty poor excuse. So a bit of tunnel vision on going bot lane. I know, at this point you were. But it's good just to identify, again, should have been with our team. Again, ulting. Why are we ulting here against a Thresh? You're literally 99% health.
Yeah.
Tunnel visioning on the Thresh. You just have a hate for the Thresh.
Yeah.
Here you just fucking hate him.
Yeah. Anytime a support that peels so well, it irks the hell out of me because I played Tryndamere too, and they just shut me down from the ADC, which I know I'd kill.
Yeah, and so again, this is a 4v5 for you guys. Sure, Rumble Lux died, but that was mainly because you were tunnel visioning on the Thresh when really you knew the Aatrox was pushing top. So this is one fight where we could have stalled the game out. We're only 4k behind gold in this point. That's something, a good visual cue. You're over 10 kills behind, but you're only 4k gold because of your split pushing endeavors that have actually helped you out a lot. Also, shutdowns. This is, again, the importance of shutdowns, how big a shutdown bounty is and why so many people are upset with shutdown gold at the moment. But, I mean, we may as well abuse it until Riot fixes it, or if they do fix it. If they think it's healthy, that's up to them. But again, these two team fights here were two opportunities for you to concretely get back in the game. These two opportunities were way better than a split push opportunity or, I guess the laning phase opportunities were pretty strong because they influence your mid-late game. But, the decision making in this fight and then in this fight were probably two of the most important decisions you need to make during this game, and you made them incorrectly.
Got it. Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. Again, I think you used flash, like, again, like mental state, but you and Lucian pretty much have matched flashes because of this fight here. So, like, knowing how am I going to get to this Lucian? Am I going to use my Q flash? And then he's just going to dash flash so I don't actually get to him. And then thinking, okay, how else can I approach this? Can I just walk up here and, like, try and face tank these guys and then use my Q as soon as Thresh starts to Q or Zac starts to E? Instead of just thinking, I need to use these to get to Lucian. Oh, wait, he has a flash dash. So when I flash dash, what's going to happen?
Coach, is there a like a mental kind of trick to like I can say with confidence that even if in my best mental state, I probably still wouldn't remember the Lucian's flash timer. Like what I do in game is I ping it and then I have timestamps so I can add 5 minutes to it, right? I'll
Yeah.
even type out like AD flash 29 minutes,
Yeah.
but literally after like 3 minutes I forget about it.
Okay.
And I just don't check it. Like it just comes to my head. Like I don't use
Yeah.
those cues. I'm not sure how to develop that habit.
Um, it's a good question because I don't actually know how to develop it, and I use, like, if I use my flash, that's how I remember Lucian flash. So if I use my flash for someone else's flash, which I usually do for carries, like to kill a carry, then I know, okay, if my flash is up, Lucian's flash is up. And that's how I use that as a cue, but I don't know how to activate that in your head.
Gotcha.
But
I'll try to be more conscious of this going forward. Like I already have a bunch of notes written down on like habits to build. And I
yeah,
think I'll take them one at a time. But first of all is like the F keys, and also second of all is recognizing the timing of things.
and I think, like, don't get overwhelmed. Like, we've gone over a lot, and I'm recording this as well, so I'll send you that, so you can look over if we miss any points or whatever. But don't think you can fix everything we're saying right now overnight or in your next week. Like, think, what do I want to focus on first? Do I want to get my laning phase down solid first? Do I want to get my team fighting down solid first? Okay, I want to do this first. What do I need to do to get that? And just focus on that thing until you feel like you're confident enough that, okay, now I'm pretty good with flash timers, or I'm pretty good with my F cycles. Because, like, I assume you're not just playing for this season, you're playing for a longevity of League of Legends. So what's the rush in trying to learn everything? That it might
Awesome,
just
awesome.
overwhelm you. Like, how am I supposed to remember flash timers when I'm also cycling through F keys? I'm also trying to do this. And of course, you're not going to be able to do it overnight, but gradually, you're going to be able to absorb more information once everything else becomes natural. Once F keys become natural, then flashes might be awkward for you, but then if you focus on flashes, then they become natural. So now you've got two natural subconscious abilities. It's like breathing and walking. Like, we do them, like, without thinking. Blinking, we do them without thinking. But once upon a time, walking was super hard, or swimming was super hard, but we learnt it, and then it becomes a subconscious thing. We now just know how to swim.
Got it.
So it's
Got it.
the same as
Awesome.
League of Legends. Like, don't try and learn to swim, run, and ride a bike in the same day, because it's like, one, it's going to be overwhelming, two, you're going to be uncoordinated, and three, you're just going to be like, I failed at all three because I didn't spend enough time on any of them.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So just big picture, nothing's going to happen overnight, but as long as we can improve by like 1% a day, or one activity a week, one activity a month, if it's a bigger activity, like, it's great progress.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. That actually one of my biggest problems is just my perspective and my like approach towards this game. I always feel like I need to be improving on something, otherwise I'm wasting my time and I'm just playing a video game for the sake of playing a video game.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Which is pretty crazy that League of Legends has become so much more than a video game. I always find that crazy.
Yeah.
But I also love it. But yeah, this is
And
GG.
honestly, they could have ended the game here, but they just wanted to style on us, I
Oh,
guess,
really?
which gave us a little bit of a comeback. Yeah. They're just having fun.
Yeah. I'm just gonna speed this game up a little bit because I've got to go soon. But I think we've
Okay,
pretty
yeah,
much
yeah.
covered a lot. Um, I'm gonna upload this recording. My upload speed is super slow, so it could take a couple of days to get it to you. But
No worries at all. Thank you so much, Coach.
no worries. And I assume you've written notes for this as well.
Yep, yep.
Yeah,
I've
cool.
well, I just been writing notes and like more importantly, like how to do VOD reviews on my own, as well as the key habits to point out.
Yeah,
At this point, honestly, not much to watch. Like in this case, I'm just desperately trying to get Soul or try to steal it from them.
yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, and then everything else is just the game falls apart. But thank you so much for pointing out the different opportunities to carry the game, as well as like the key habit
Yeah.
develop and also the bad habit get rid.
And you were never gonna realistically, you were never gonna identify this on your own. You needed someone to come in, whether it's a friend,
Yeah,
whether it's a
yeah,
coach, whether it's I don't know who else would do it, but like you needed someone to come in here.
awesome.
Yep. And just if like I assume you can probably prioritize what you want to focus on first, because I don't think any of these are like you could focus on any of these at the same time, or like sorry in order. Like you could probably focus on any of these for the first thing, but I'd really fix the micro habits first, I think, and the laning phase habits of like why am I doing this, why am I doing that, because like
Gotcha.
wave
Yeah,
management, but then like why am I 4v1ing here, what's triggering that, how can I think of what to do that. And then like once I've got my laning phase a bit more solid, okay, then I add my F keys because now I've got laning phase solid, so now I'm looking to influence the mid late game and just pick like a natural I guess sequence of improvements that works for you
yeah.
as a person.
I didn't realize until just recently how ineffectively I was using my E and my R. Like it's actually
Yeah.
scary to me that I'm wasting them that much.
Yeah. And I mean, even if you are like, do you watch Jax players a lot, or like, I assume you watch streamers a lot.
Yeah, yeah, I like to watch TF Blade a lot, and I like to model my champion pool after them. One of my last questions actually was to
Yep.
ask if you can look at my champion pool because right now I'm just doing Jax, Trinimir, Renekton. I'm
Yep.
trying to include an AP in there just because I'm also playing Clash now. That I just want to have a more rounded out champion pool.
Yep. Yep.
But
Yep.
I've been trying to learn Vlad, and he's fun, but I feel like it's really hard to convince your team to stall the game to the point where like you can actually hit your late game power spike.
Yep.
Um, and then I really is just mechanically fun, but also I feel like too difficult for me right now is my honest opinion. So you know, but yeah, in regards to like watching streamers, I like to watch a lot of one tricks for
Yep.
a specific champion that I'm trying to learn. Just so like just because I think they're the best people to learn from.
Yep.
Yeah,
Um.
and that's where I moved from. Yeah.
So, and also, if you get stuck, and let's say you don't want a coach or you can't get a player, go like literally just whatever whoever TF Blades. Like, if you just watch a stream with TF Blade and you're like, well, how did you do all that jack shit? Download the replay of his VOD. All you have to do is type in his summoner name onto the League client, download the replay of that game, and then slow mo the laning phase and go, oh, that's how he uses his. That's how he gets really close to Darius without getting punished. And like, you can use his VOD reviews as a way to further or emulate what he's doing instead of just watching a stream and going, how is he doing that? Download his game reviews, or his games, and review them yourself,
Gotcha.
because then you
Gotcha.
can go, okay, he's doing this really great. Oh, but he's actually doing this really badly. Like, that's weird. And then you got the context. Oh, he was raging on stream, so he was playing badly there. And la la la. And then you might start even picking up things that he might not even be doing right, but also picking up his really good habits of he does this against this matchup, he does that against this matchup.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Um, in terms of champion pool, what's the best account to look at your champion
Yeah,
pool?
just Chaim Waddles. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the
Because, I mean, again, like we've played 7, 5, 4. It's hard to say what your champion pool should be when we haven't played that many champions.
I just figured like those champions get countered by the same thing, right? Like Teemo
Mm.
destroys Tryndamere, and like I'm not very good in that matchup with Fior or Shen. Same thing with like a big beefy tank like Ornn Malphite that could just stonewall me from top lane.
Yeah.
I feel like all of those champions are countered by the same thing. So like when my opponent first locks I don't know, like a Ornn top lane, I just don't know what to do into it anymore. I'm just like, should I
Yeah.
just go with
Well,
Tryndamere, my comfort pick,
Ornn's
or
fucking busted, so I'd honestly just ban Ornn if I was a top laner.
gotcha.
Unless you play him, unless you want to play him.
No, no,
Yeah.
no. I don't.
Um,
I despise tank.
especially high elo because all he has to do is like he can even lose lane. All he has to do is go even and at least get to like what level 14, so like 20 25
Yeah,
minutes,
13, 14.
and then
So dumb.
he just outscales anyone because he's giving so much inherent gold value to diamond players. So in a silver game it might be different because he's giving value to silver players, but he's giving gold values to diamond players. So he's naturally influencing every single lane in the game, like without having to do anything. He doesn't have to TP to influence that lane. All he has to do is get near them, upgrade their item. That's like a 1k gold injection. Um,
Yeah.
so I would just ban him because I think Teemo is a lot easier to deal with than like I don't know who your bans are, but I think like Ornn right now in top lane, I would ban him if
Gotcha.
you're
Yeah. Right
feeling
now
like
I'm
he's your biggest
getting
problem.
like Yumi and Set and Wukong
Yeah,
are my
yeah, that's actually
like those
true
are
set
stronger
as
bans.
well. Um,
Yeah.
but it could be like expand your champion pool. Like, can I pick up set? Do I want to pick up set? You know, what's more important, my rank or playing a champion that I don't necessarily enjoy, but he's the meta at the moment? Like, I guess it depends on, do I always want to play the meta or do I just want to play these champions no matter what happens? Or, you know what I mean?
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay.
So that's a choice you have to make and then base your decision. So, do I want to play the meta? Oh, let's go to a site such as champion.gg and look up top top laners. Oh, Wukong, I have problems against him. Oh, apparently he's really strong even after like like two nerfs in a row or whatever. Maybe I should pick him up. Oh wow, Maokai is like giga busted and he is so easy to play. Oh, and he could actually do well into Ornn. He could also do well into Teemo because he can just out heal and out sustain pretty much everyone. Maybe I want to play him because he's meta. He's got a 3% play rate. He's got a 53% win ratio, which is like those two stats alone are just insane. Because he's being played so much and he's still got such a good win rate. So like that's
Gotcha.
meta. But then it's like, do I want to be a TF Blade? Okay, let's do Jax, you know, Irelia, and then let's go Fogged with Trind. Um,
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
but understand Trind has very bad matchups, particularly in this meta. But Maokai doesn't. Like sure he might have some awkward ones, but he outscales. So all I have to do is like again this is like that LS mentality. If I'm going at 60 k's an hour and my enemy lane's going at I don't know if you were watching him last night. He was streaming he was coaching Impact and he was like if he was trying to explain to him like if I'm going 60 k's and my enemy's going 55 k's, why do I want to go 70 k's? Because I'm still going to beat him to the end of the finish line. Why do I need to rush it? Do it like unless I need to go after this game to like my wedding or like go get something to eat. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
why we rush? Like why are we trying to get to the finish line quicker? Because it's ego. Because it's you know you can like why do I have to you know go faster if I don't have like why am I thinking I have to if I don't have to? So it's up to
Gotcha.
you who you play with your champion pool. I play meta, but you have a niche with the Jax, with the Trind, with the Irelia that if you like, and that's where you find the most enjoyment out of, which I think is also important because that's like highly correlated to climbing if you're enjoying the game. Um, but I mean,
Gotcha.
I enjoy playing Wukong. I enjoy playing Maokai. I enjoy playing Jax. I enjoy playing Trind. Like maybe I'm just a very like I enjoy playing most champions besides a couple. But maybe you just absolutely hate playing Maokai because you think it's brainless or whatever, and that's up to you. But then it's like, okay, is my goal to climb? Is my goal to get better on these champions? Is my goal to just get better at the game overall? Which is up to
Gotcha.
you.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for all the advice today, Coach. I really appreciate it.
No worries, Andy.